to this week's episode of the Firmware Update, your podcast for all PlayStation news, reviews, and everything in between. I'm one of your hosts, Malcolm Spinetti, and joining me, as always, Joe Garcia.
That's me, Malcolm.
How you been doing there, Joe?
I've been doing okay.
Very good. What you been playing?
Let's see, what have I been playing? I've played some more Rayman Origins or Legends on the Xbox One.
Very good.
Still enjoy that game a whole heck of a lot.
Well, you did call it Happiness forever and a day ago.
Well, I called it Rayman Origins.
Oh, okay.
To be very specific here.
This one, not quite Happiness.
It's only bliss, not quite happiness.
Very good. There is a difference, folks.
Let's see. I'm not sure. I didn't play a whole lot, to be honest. I'm trying to rack my brain here. I feel like I played something on PS4, but it's slipping my... Oh, I just played Guacamelee again. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm playing that on PS4. It was on sale a little while ago. And yeah, it's like, I guess I'll start another playthrough. So that's what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
So I'm on vacation from work right now.
Oh, right.
So the closest thing I've had in a while to your schedule, Joe. And I got it, and it's... By the way, for those of you who haven't had a vacation, I really recommend it, as it is quite phenomenal, just sitting on my couch. By the way, vacation started off with new couch and a new Tempur-Pedic bed.
Very good.
Very good. It was tax money well spent. And I bought Resident Evil Revelations 2, which I'm halfway through the first episode. And... It's short. It's like one level each, which got me upset at first, but then I realized, oh wait, I only spent like $24.99 on this, so it's justifiable. So, so far so good. I'll do like a full review of it later, I hope. But yeah, so far I can't say that I'm not upset with it. So
okay, you haven't played, say, Wolfenstein: The New Order?
No, I have not played Wolfenstein.
Well, you should probably do that.
Okay, I got 3 days left, Joe. Don't worry.
All right, well, just get on it.
All right. I've been playing that. I'm still playing Monster Hunter. That's going to be in that's in the tournament. It's in the I should say the Dark Horse tournament for this year, Joe.
Man, I do not like Monster Hunter.
Well, you're going to get used to talking about it.
God, I just don't get it.
And don't worry, you can put Rise of the Tomb Raider in the Dark Horse tournament up against it, and it'll be eliminated in the first round, Joe. Besides, Joe, I'm not exactly expecting it to place high. I mean, none of my games most of my games are lucky to make it past the first round, let's be honest.
I mean, it's not my fault that you have bad taste in video games, Malcolm.
Okay, one of my games was runner-up for Game of the Year, and only lost because DCXM's system of logic for picking a winner was so confounding. I honestly, I thought I had it when I said, like, yeah, I keep playing it, and you're like, yeah, I haven't played it since I beat it, da-da-da, and all right, we're going to go with that game.
Even the good games you like aren't as good.
They're amazingly good, first of all, so you watch your mouth. So yeah, I've been playing that. And yeah, that's pretty much been it. The last 3 days have been with the wife, but she's away on work, so today, tomorrow, and the day after are just by my lonesome. So I got plenty of time to play whatever.
Alrighty.
All right, now before we continue any further, folks, we have unfortunately depressing stupid people news here.
All right, who's the dummy?
So as you know, we have a Twitter account @TheFirmUp. And a pro GamerGater tailgated us, or whatever the term is, quoting that the entire movement is being misrepresentative on our opening segment of the Firmware Update.
The full quote is, just listen to a host of the Firmware completely lie and misrepresent #GamerGate and #NotYourShield without a shred of proof. So sad. End quote. To which I say, go ahead and read my timeline, my notifications feed from 1 week ago exactly. And you'll see exactly what the fuck made me even go off. Like, my notifications were a flood of ethics in journalism, Malcolm. Mm-hmm. So many ethics were in my notifications tab. And without that, I probably wouldn't have mentioned GamerGate at all. So congratulations. The only reason I did that is because GamerGate is for stupid baby people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, I could sound off on how I feel on GamerGate, but that's gonna A, take up a lot of the show, and B, gonna make our show very, very depressing. But I will say this in closing: you guys have lost. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys thought that you had any shred of a good point that you're trying to make, when the video game developers are now mocking you and saying how awful people are, you lost. That's it.
Yeah, like you spend 6+ months, being terrible assholes on the internet. That's what you get in return, is people saying, wow, what a bunch of stupid assholes. That's just the way the world works.
Secondly, without a shred of proof, I mean, ignoring the actual proof-containing tweets that Joe has on his timeline, how about we just go to the tweets that Joe's doing defending women who are getting attacked by jerks with not your shield or whatever the hell the hashtag is.
I don't know what this guy wants. Does he want me to write down the URLs for each of the tweets and read them on the air so that he can go and type them to his web browser himself to look at them? Because that's the only way that we could do that on the fucking podcast.
Yeah, and for fuck's sake! All right, and let's assume the lady where this all started. What was her name? Xeon or so? I can't remember.
Zoe Quinn.
Zoe Quinn. Let's pretend and for that everything that they're saying is true, that about her journalistic integrity, blah 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 blah.
She's a developer. She doesn't need to have journalistic credibility. That doesn't.
Okay. All right. Excuse me. Let's say everything they're saying about her developer integrity. Okay. Number one, it's a goddamn video game. There's no reason she should be receiving fucking death threats about whatever she is allegedly being whatever against.
The most annoying part of all of it is that it was all disproven immediately. They're like, oh, she slept with a dude from Kotaku to get positive review scores. It's like, the game was free to play that she made. No, anybody can have it whenever they want.
Yeah, I don't think Candy Crush has a rating, does it?
Yeah, and then Kotaku never reviewed it. That guy never reviewed it. It's it was immediately irrelevant and disproven. And they're like, but no, let's continue on with this charade.
It's for
months.
And if you feel for 1 second that that you can't trust her game, then you just don't get it. It's as simple as that.
It's the simplest thing in the world.
There's no reason to have this war on women. Freaking A.
And I mean, bringing up, the game developers, freaking Tim Schafer was the one who came up last week at GDC with the sock puppet, right? And, Tim Schafer is one of the 10 nicest people on the planet, much as, never mind video games. He's one of the nicest, warmest dudes. And, he didn't turn into an asshole overnight. Just so you know, he's still a very nice guy. So think about how that reflects on you, the fake movement that isn't really about what you say it is.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I read his exact quote from that award show, how they're getting racist remark and bigotry out of that.
Well, because he made fun of the Not Your Shield hashtag, Michael. Or Michael. What?
Michael, wow.
He made fun of that dumb hashtag, which was a charade in itself to for them to be able to say, oh, we've got women and minorities on our side and they don't want to be your shield. Even though by doing that, they've made a shield. So, I mean, whatever. So he made fun of that hashtag, oh, he's silencing minorities, saying they don't exist. It's oh, God, you're fucking stupid. All right? If you think that's what racism is, you've got a whole lot of learning to do.
Fucking A.
A whole lot of learning to do. But... yeah, just the funniest thing about that whole game developers thing. They're why aren't game developers getting together at this conference to make video games? Because that's not what the game developers conference is. All right, people, game developers go there to, some developers go there to show off stuff that they want to sell, but mostly it is a game developers conference. They get together to talk fucking shit that doesn't really matter to the consumer in the end. They want to talk about, hey, what did you do for your physics in this game? And that's what they do. They get together to discuss that and help each other out. And if they happen to get together and say, hey, that big group of assholes is being really shitty, let's make fun of them. Well, who's to blame for that? The big group of stupid assholes. There you go. That's my GamerGate rant of the week.
Frickin' A. So, yeah, as humorous as it is to me that we offended somebody from GamerGate.
That's the best too, you know? They're like part of their whole thing was like, oh man, like these are all like when you point out something shitty and they try to like bring you down as an SJW, a social justice warrior, like, oh, these guys want to censor our games. Like, it's just a joke, guys. Take it easy. Fucking Tim Schafer goes out to sock puppet and they lose their minds. It's like, okay. Which one is it?
It's a sock puppet, for fuck's sake.
It's a fucking sock puppet.
And let's be objective here. That joke Schafer made wasn't funny. I loved him.
It's like, yeah.
I loved Tim Schafer, but that was as low budget of a joke as it got right there.
Like, the underlying point he was making was fine, but the joke itself was like, yeah, this could have used some workshopping.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. But anyway.
What a bunch of stupid baby assholes.
So.
Can't emphasize that enough.
So, once again, we apologize. While we apologize we don't seek out to offend anyone here at the Firmware Update, but we're going to have to side with what a Twitter dude commented in response to that guy with hashtag #FuckGamerGate, as that's our stance on that whole thing.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I've never been prouder of my work on a podcast than when the GamerGate says that they were upset by something I said. Never prouder of this podcast, no.
And we didn't need a sock puppet to achieve that.
We did it in an audio-only format, Malcolm.
Freaking A, yeah.
I think it's better than Tim Schafer.
Lordy Lord. All right, so enough. So now that we got that business out of the way, quite a bit of news happened this week. So, without further ado, let's take it to the news. Alrighty, Joe. So, what happened this week?
Well, this week we've got Shuhei Yoshida talking to GameSpot about Project Morpheus over at GDC last week, where he touched a little bit about pricing and maybe some possible E3 game reveals tied to the Project Morpheus. He said, quote, "Many studios of ours are working on actual games. We haven't talked about these games as yet. We are waiting for the right time. Starting probably at E3, we'll start to show the actual games." Talking about, whether it would be full games or only demos available when the headset finally launches next year. In addition to these mystery games, Yoshida said Sony's teams in Japan and London are working on new demos meant to illustrate the power of VR as a platform. Concerning the price, Yoshida wouldn't give a specific figure on the consumer model for Morpheus, but said it's Sony's goal to offer the device for as low a price as possible, saying, quote, "As low as possibly can be done," Yoshida said when asked if there was a target price in mind. "We are not talking about any specific number, but this is a console business. We try to provide the hardware at the lowest possible cost so that more people can come in and so that developers can make games on to create the market. So we'll have the same approach." And Yoshida also confirmed that the core Morpheus hardware has been finalized and that Sony has no plans to release a wireless version of the headset. There you go. That report comes from GameSpot.
So, when they're saying that, when they say that, it's a console business and we want to get as many people as possible, so that alleviates my fears that it's going to be $1,000.
Right.
But at the same time, Joe, if you had to make a guess, how much do you think it'll be out the door?
I would say low estimate would be $400.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because we're talking about a headset with with a very high quality display on top of the crazy technology that's required to power it.
All you do, Joe, is put your Note 4 in there, and that's
yeah, that'll do it.
I just stick that, or excuse me, your Sony Xperia.
Oh God!
All VR is going to be, you just slip a phone in there. But anyway, I'm hoping for $300 myself, because I don't know if you can have it be as much as the PlayStation 4, but then again, we'll see. We'll definitely see. But hey, that and a PS4, and I don't know, but I do like the fact that they say, we're going to try to get as many people through the door, so this isn't going to be like 4K TVs where you have to be Beyonce to get one of these things. So,
but who would want to be Beyonce though? For real?
I know, like you keep putting. You don't win an award, and Kanye West comes up there and embarrasses you. It's terrible, man. It's like, fucking hey, I don't even care about this award, Kanye. Come on. Here's the question, Joe. Are you interested in this at all?
I mean, I'd really have to get my hands on it myself, because I've been in the vicinity of it. Like they had an E3 last year. But you needed an appointment to see it, and we couldn't get a hold of Sony at all to get any official appointments at their booths. So all I could do was roam around to see what was open, on the show floor. But I don't know. If early impressions are very positive, so I look forward to trying it one day at least. Yeah,
like I have yet to hear a bad thing about this. Like, hey, I'm not hearing, there's stuttering issues, it's the graph, it's not good. No, it's like everything I've heard has been like fully immersive. And just like listening to people talk about using this thing, it's very cool from like a almost like a childlike standpoint who just discovered a new toy.
Yeah.
Hey,
have you heard like on the new podcast Beyond, the updated podcast Beyond with the new crew over there? They were talking about their time with the Morpheus. I don't know if they were playing it at GDC or PAX, I forget, but I think Max Scova was using it, and he said it was very, like you said, very immersive, not disorienting in the least, very responsive. Like he started the demo, sitting down, and one of the characters in the demo told him to stand up, and he did, and it was very...
Oh, and we never mentioned this, but the PlayStation Move is back, Joe.
The PlayStation Move never left, Malcolm.
It should have, but but yeah, it's like in order to use objects in the game, like if it's a gun game, when you see the videos of people using it, they're using a PlayStation Move, so they get their money back on that finally. But continue. So very immersive when he was doing stuff.
Yeah, like he would, like you said, he would just kind of walk around. You'd still walk around with either, the controllers or like a keyboard if you're using it on PC or something. But, walking around, being able to like duck behind cover and have it feel like you were actually behind something. Like that's the kind of stuff that is very exciting to me. But, so long as it's comfortable to wear with my glasses and isn't outlandishly expensive, I think it's something like, I think it's the actual, like people... VR is finally the future that people wanted VR to be, 25 years ago.
I tell you, Joe, when we have kids and they're like 10, this is going to be like the thing. I'm telling you. Like I was listening to, I forget where it was from. I think it was GameSpot. Some guys were talking about playing this tech demo where it was essentially a shooting gallery, and it started at the beginning. You were like. You were sitting in a chair, sitting across from like a mob boss or something. And he starts looking around, and he immediately notices the exit sign. And as soon as he focuses on the exit sign, the NPC sitting across from him starts snapping his fingers to get his attention. And he's going like, hey, you're not going anywhere. So I thought, oh my God, that's cool. Like you could look at a direction and it'll make the NPC react. That's actually pretty cool. And it devolves into a gunfight between you and like the gang members in there. And he was talking about hiding behind a desk and like popping his head up and down. And at one point he even like sticks his hand over the edge of the table to shoot without popping his head up. And he was like, I was just really into it. It felt like I was in an actual gunfight. So I'm hearing stuff like that really has me stoked too.
Yeah. I wonder how Sony's making up for, I guess, the PS4's relative lack of power. Because, compared to like a PC that Oculus would be running on, like PCs now even, kind of really dwarf what the PS4 can really do.
Well, consoles are never going to catch up to a PC.
I know, but I mean, with the PS4 being, behind, I guess, in that regard, having much less hardware to actually fool around with, I wonder what they're going to do to make sure that, Morpheus is, stays as fun as it is now in the long run.
Well, it should be interesting. And this is not the last we're going to talk about Morpheus. There's one other story in particular where I have a feeling it might tie into Morpheus. But did you have anything else that you wanted to say here, Joe?
No, I mean, and also if you have other Morpheus news, you may as well bring it up because I don't have anything else here.
Well, it attaches on to something else that we're going to talk about, unless you missed it from yesterday.
I mean, I guess I did because I don't.
All right. Do you want to just skip to that story then, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Uncharted.
Oh, I mean, I didn't see any mention of that.
Well, this because it's me guessing here, but.
Okay. Well, anyway, yes. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that was the next story anyway.
Oh, was it? Okay.
yeah, that Uncharted 4 has been delayed into spring 2016. Not really surprising anyone, I don't think, because we're already in March and they never said anything specific about, not so much as a fall 2015, just 2015. So.
All right. And let's just address the big question right off, Joe. Is this the end of the world?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. If you paid it like Last of Us last year, they also had a delay about this about the same length of time. And so, in considering it's Naughty Dog here, that's fine. I'm really good with them having a delay. Take as many delays as you want, because the games always end up being worth the wait. Now, sadly, of course you know what this means, Joe.
No, Malcolm, I don't.
Well, yeah, we don't get that grudge match we were looking forward to.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the long-awaited Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake feud. That would have been so amazing at Christmas from a marketing standpoint. You better believe they would have done like some sort of like at the VGXs. I guarantee you there would have been like those fights that Peter Griffin and the Chicken have. Mm-hmm. They would have done something like that, except with Lara Croft and Nathan Drake just destroying like whatever Aztec ruin they have to bump into each other in. But they probably would have shown that at the Video Game Awards show or something like that. But at the same time, it's fine. Like I said, it's a Naughty Dog game. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the last 3 games that Naughty Dog has released have all been damn near perfect and been Game of the Year nominees. So if they say, yeah, we need to delay this to fix the kinks here, I trust them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, do you think that Microsoft is a little bit annoyed by this news? Because as a lot of people theorize, they got Lara Croft to combat Nathan Drake.
I mean, I don't see why they would be upset. If anything, it makes it easier for them to get a foothold in the very important holiday season. So they're like, yeah, okay. We don't have anything to compete with.
Yeah. And by the way, that, Xbox are going to be like, they delayed to not go toe-to-toe with Rise of the Tomb Raider. No. It's Uncharted. They really have nothing to be afraid of. I mean, I think it's just simply that. They just wanted to make the game better, so God bless them for doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't want to Assassin's Creed Unity their game, dude. And let's make that load of garbage a saying now. Way to Unity that launch, dude. Come on.
They patched that game again, by the way, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I believe it. So this is what I was thinking, because I believe that they said that the headset is coming out in the first quarter of 2016, mm-hmm. And now
for early 2016.
Early 2016. We're looking at spring, which is kind of early 2016, or not too far afterwards. Do you think that Uncharted is going to be a game that will be compatible with the headset?
Not at launch, but eventually, yeah.
Like that whole sequence from the PlayStation experience that they opened the show. Imagine doing that whole thing from Nathan's perspective. How crazy that would be.
I mean, the thing is that, not I don't think every single game it would benefit from VR.
No, every single game. God of War. Let's have that Kratos' perspective.
Like, most of the VR stuff that I've seen has been first-person stuff, so I'm not sure. I mean, unless they decide to put a first-person mode in the game, I'm not sure how much benefit you can get out of that from, I don't know.
A lot.
Like, started.
In the very beginning, Joe, with the VR headset, I think it's going to be very much from a because it's cool type of belief behind each game. Like if they do Uncharted, an Uncharted game that's just entirely from Nathan's perspective, where you're just bouncing all over the place, shooting things, going over. I guess they just want to see how that would work, and I'll be frank, I'd probably buy it just to try that out. I'd have to pause to throw up every 30 minutes, but aside from that.
Right. I mean, I just don't want to get to a point early on where, we're putting stuff in for the sake of saying that you put it in, because otherwise you get to dangerous territory, like, say, like a little Deviants on Vita or the 800 crappy Move games that came out. So, I want them to be very careful with VR and, only really implement it where it makes sense.
And they need to be. You're absolutely right. I mean, especially since they're first out of the gate, which means that they're sort of in the position that Microsoft was in when they were just announcing the new next-gen consoles, where Microsoft was able to go first and thus made all the mistakes that the other companies are like, okay, let's not do that. Like, this could be what Oculus Rift and Samsung are doing here. Like, okay, let's see how Sony handles this, and this, and then we'll just be different. So, but yeah, especially in the standpoint that they want as many people as possible to get their hands on this. And I mean, well, like I said, it sounds like they're trying to do whatever they can to make it as inexpensive as possible, which is good. But they need to be careful going forward. They need to have games. They have to have a nice price standpoint for it. And for God's sake, don't make it cost as much as the PS4. Come on.
I mean, it would be cool even if it wasn't like a full-on, like, if it wasn't like full-on like the regular game. Like, they put in a section on Uncharted 4 where it's just like, hey, here's, like, just explore one of the beautiful areas that we've made in the game, and instead of you jumping around as Nathan Drake, it's like you just walk around this awesome mountainside by yourself and just chill in it 10 minutes.
Oh god, like that could be something too. Like, instead of it being like a full-on game, you just have a company that's fantastic with visuals like Naughty Dog, and you're just walking through the Himalayas, or you're just walking through this amazing countryside, looking over, seeing wildlife and what have you. You don't need to be shooting anything up. Just...
Yeah, you don't have to be jumping and hanging by your fingertips on a sheer cliffside. It's like I just want to walk around this fucking mountainside, because as you've probably noticed, Naughty Dog makes some fucking brilliant looking environments. It'd be nice to just be there, even if it's just to stand and walk around a little bit.
Oh, something I just realized. This sort of goes against what we were just saying. Imagine PT as a freaking Morpheus game.
Like, that would make more sense, because that was a first-person thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much the entire way. You were just like controlling, looking around, and what have you.
Yeah.
Oh God, I would fall down so many times.
Ah!
I would tear those goggles off my face. Oh gosh. So yeah, Morpheus is really excited, folks, because this is it. This is the very first step of the future. Like Ready Player One, or any of those games, like sadly Lawnmower Man or anything like that. This is like the first step of it being like that, where now we are in the game. And this has, like, I could do an entire conversation of what this means and what we could do. Games are just like a small part of it. So I am really stoked. And we'll we'll see what happens here, because this could make or break Sony right here. This will either make them a lot of money or it'll cost them a lot of money, which
right.
They really can't afford to lose a lot of money right now, Joe.
No, they can't.
Alrighty. Unless you got anything else on this subject?
No, I think we're all Uncharted and Morpheus out.
All right, we're all charted now. All right.
Fully charted.
Yeah, so in summary, Morpheus is going to be awesome, and so is Uncharted 4, so just be patient, folks. One other thing I'll ask about this, while I'm okay with Uncharted the game being delayed, that's an exclusive one exclusive less for this year. Do you think this is going to hurt Sony at all?
I mean, a little bit, I guess. Slipping out of the holiday season is always a negative.
That would have been a great seller for the holiday season, yeah.
But it's up to Sony to fill the void, I guess. They'll probably announce games at E3 that will release later this year. So I'm sure they'll fill some of that gap, but
Drive Club PlayStation Plus Edition out on Christmas.
They should just cancel the PlayStation Plus Edition and just make the game free for the whole game free.
Yeah, they really should.
Just forget the PlayStation Plus Edition and just make it free for PlayStation Plus completely. It's like, why even bother with that anymore? But yeah, hopefully we'll have something to fill that gap. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Bloodborne just pretty much went to my Game of the Year pick with this decision right here, but we'll see how well Bloodborne does in this tournament this year. One other thing, as far as exclusives, people don't forget Until Dawn. I really have high hopes for that game too. That it looks really super fun, and I really believe, Joe. I think come June, they'll surprise us. They'll be like, "Hey, God of War 4," or something like that, or something. It's like, "Oh, No Man's Sky, it's out right now." Go.
Oh man, I really wish that more game companies could adopt the Apple style of announcing things, where Apple is like, "Hey, yeah, here's this cool thing, and it'll be out either today or in a couple of weeks." It's like, "Oh shit, okay."
You want there to be a $10,000 Vita version, or
yes, that I can strap to my wrist,
made of solid gold. I personally want to shake the hand out of whoever buys a $10,000 Apple Watch, because it must be great to have that kind of money you can just throw away.
I mean, oh man. I'm not mad necessarily at the idea of a $10,000 Apple Watch if it's gold, because, gold watches cost that much money, but, they also cost that much money because there's real clockwork inside. It's not just a fucking computer built in China, So it's less justified to spend the $10,000 on that Apple Watch. Just buy a real $10,000 watch if you've got that money.
Yeah, forget
buy
a car.
Buy a Rolex. Buy a Rolex. Treat yourself with a real watch.
Or better yet, buy a car with that kind of money. Or if I
the money, I'll buy so that I can buy a car.
Freaking A, I could pay off a majority of my college loans with $10,000, man. Jesus. Oh, boy. All right, Joe, what's the next story?
Next story is Sony has confirmed their latest PlayStation 4 firmware update 2.50. They have called it Yukimura because they're not done naming their firmware, I guess. But this is where we're finally going to get the much asked for suspend resume mode, Malcolm.
Explain this to me, yeah.
Well, the suspend resume mode that they revealed alongside the PlayStation 4 2 years ago in February, I don't know if you remember. But one of the features that they announced the console with was that you'd be able to basically just tap the power button and it would be as good as closing the lid on your 3DS or your laptop, or when you were ready to go again, it would just pick up right where you left off.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's a very good feature. On paper, it's a good feature. I've been wanting it pretty much forever because it's annoying when you're like, I've got 20 minutes to kill before somebody picks me up to go somewhere else or something. And it takes, you get into it and this is going to take longer than I thought. And your ride is here. It's like, oh shit, but I haven't reached a save point or whatever. But you can just tap the power button and it'll be there waiting for you when you come back, which is neat.
Until you realize you were playing a multiplayer game and you get...
Ah, shit.
What do you mean I'm dead? I was suspended.
Oh, you know it'd be great if you're playing if you're in a raid party on Destiny or something and you press the button to suspend the game and it traps everybody into a stasis bubble, time stasis, and everybody just has to stay where they are while you go have fun.
Oh gosh.
And then you turn it back on and it's like nothing ever happened.
You motherfucker. I could have been farming spin metal. But anyway.
But that's just one of the features.
Just one, folks.
Yeah, a number of features are coming. Let's see. The sub-account to master account upgrade is finally coming with version 2.50. They announced a little while ago that they're finally doing that. And it'll be live with 2.50, so that's good. You can do a Facebook friend search now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you've tied your Facebook account to your PSN account, you can it'll pull your Facebook friends and say, hey, these are some of the friends you haven't added on PSN, but based on, here are their PSN IDs for you to add if you want. So that's nice. You can now remote play and share play at 60 frames per second if for games that support that frame rate. You can now, of course, this is dependent on your bandwidth, of course. If you've got shitty Wi-Fi, it's probably best to just leave it at 30 frames. But if you have a good connection, you can play your 60 frames games at 60 frames. So that's nice. A number of accessibility options are being made available now for just make it easier for people if they've got some troubles adapting to stuff. Text to speech, bigger text, bolder fonts, higher contrast UI, a zoom for displayed pictures. You can invert colors on the screen and much more. You'll also be able to reassign buttons on your DualShock 4, quote, making it easier for users with limited manual dexterity or limited reach and strength to play. I've seen a couple people, I've seen companies sell custom controllers basically because people with that want to play games but have bad dexterity for any number of medical reasons, to be able to play. So anything that makes it easier for people to play, I think, big A plus. Trophy improvements are also coming. According to the PlayStation blog post, a screenshot will automatically be captured at the moment a trophy is earned, making it easier than ever for you to share your greatest gaming moments with your friends.
Okay, that's really clever. I like that.
Let's see. It says we're also adding more sorting options along with the new ability to remove games from the trophy list that have 0% completion. So if you ever try a game and you think it sucks, but you don't want it to show up on your list because it still says 0%, you can just go ahead and delete it forever.
Oh, nice.
I know a couple of people have been wanting that, but, whatever. And finally, there's a new share option as well. You can now share your video clips directly to Dailymotion, Malcolm. Uploaded directly into 1999.
Dailymotion. Wow.
Dailymotion. Yeah.
How long till VMO or Blip is going to be on there?
So we can upload to eBombs World, Malcolm.
Oh God, eBombs World.
Can I export this to my real player?
Okay.
Dailymotion, good lord. Dailymotion is just a wasteland of pirated wrestling documentaries and shit, basically.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't forget porn. That's on there too.
That's where I had to go to watch some of the Andre the Giant stuff for that episode of Slam University. It's I can't find any. Oh, it's on Dailymotion, I guess. Oh, okay.
It's one of those. Why not? I mean,
I guess.
I mean, at the same time, why isn't there a Dailymotion app if I can put it on Dailymotion on the PS4? I mean,
yeah, Sony has PlayStation has a weird problem with that, where it's here you can do stuff with the website, but not necessarily visit the website. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't get why YouTube has a stranglehold with them. I think on Xbox you can get Blip or other apps like that, right?
Probably. I don't know. So, Microsoft has a shit ton of video apps that Sony just does not. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, it'd be nice to have a dedicated Twitch app on PS4.
But so, what do you think of this firmware update, buddy?
I think it's a very good firmware update.
It's very rare we get a bad firmware update.
I mean, there are a number of fucking nothing updates, basically, where it's like system stability for certain stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, it's like, why even mention it? Just fucking throw it out. You don't have to say it. Yeah, like the suspend resume is of course a big thing. I'm glad for the accessibility options. That's always nice. Making it easier for people to play. That's always good. And the Facebook search thing seems surprisingly useful. So I'm looking forward to those three things.
All right, I'm looking forward to it as well. It does sound pretty cool. I love the idea of, it takes a screenshot when you get a trophy. That's just beautiful. Just wonderful. I would like it a little bit more if it took the 5 seconds up until or the 10 seconds, so people could see what you did and then get the trophy and put it as a video. But the screenshot is cool too. That's very good for Twitter and what have you.
I do hope that that it's optional, because otherwise you'll have to clear out your hard drive very soon and very quickly if it's a bunch of stuff that you don't even care about.
Indeed. But, yeah, thumbs up from me, too. Alrighty, what's next?
Remember PlayStation Mobile, Malcolm?
Yeah, actually.
That's a good response. Well, you won't have to remember it any longer.
Oh.
Sony is shutting it down. Yeah, and basically on a forum post, they said, or the post reads as follows: Sony Computer Entertainment has announced that PlayStation Mobile will cease distribution of content after July 15, 2015, and in-app purchases / re-download of purchased content will be discontinued after September 10th, 2015. In addition, PlayStation Mobile for Android, which allows consumers to access PSM content on a variety of PlayStation-certified devices, will also be unavailable for download after September 10th. Consumers will be able to access and play the PSM content they have purchased after September 10th by activating their devices using the instructions below. There are instructions below what I'm reading, so that's what that is. Your device must be connected to the internet in order to activate your device. Previously, content was automatically authenticated whenever your device is connected to the internet, but this will not happen after September 10th. So basically, if you have any stake in PlayStation Mobile games, you should probably start downloading those now, because you will not be able to re-download them after September 10th.
Oh, that sucks. Wow. Now, PlayStation Mobile, that was only on Vita and Xperia games, right?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not entirely shocked that it didn't work. I mean, here's some apps you can only play on that one cell phone that's only available in one carrier. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was kind of doomed to failure. But that sucks. That I hate to be the guy who dropped a lot of money on games from there, and they're like, "Yeah, you need to buy it now because after X day, it's gone forever." I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's what sucks. At least it's easy to back that stuff up. Besides, you can download it and then back it up onto your PC, and because they're PSM games, mobile games, I don't think any of them are bigger than 100 megabytes, so it wouldn't even take up that much space. So you can do that, I guess, if you really care about playing Aqua Kitty in the long run. Aqua Kitty is fun.
Yeah, and there was one that was really good that I couldn't remember, where you play this guy called the Count, who's a vampire, and the goal was to beat this monster as he climbed up the tower by jumping on platforms.
Yeah.
But,
there's some good stuff on
yeah. Alrighty. What's the next story?
PlayStation Vue, Sony's internet TV service, is set to launch within the next couple of weeks, apparently.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Sony is set to launch its PlayStation Vue internet TV service in the United States within the next 2 weeks. In New York City, Chicago, and Philadelphia are the first three cities set to receive the service. Access to the rest of the country is planned for the end of 2015, according to SCE President Andrew House. It The monthly subscription price for for PlayStation Vue is still unknown, though, which is weird if it's launching in a couple of weeks. It will first debut on PS4 and PS3 before heading to iPad and unspecified non-Sony devices. Channels offered include CBS, NBC, Fox, FX, Comedy Central, and Discovery. And while about 75 channels will be available for each market, the Dish-exclusive ESPN may not make it. House told the Wall Street Journal that he is, quote, very confident in Vue's robust offering of sports channels despite this.
Joe, Chicago, that's you.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got satellite in this house. I mean, I'm not sure how useful it would be.
Well, throw it out.
I don't know. I mean, depending on how much they charge, it seems nice.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like really cheap and they've got USA in there, I'd be set.
Basically, I'm just waiting for goddamn USA to get on board with one of these.
Yeah, like the day that the USA is a subscription service, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I mean, this week, speaking, I guess related to the Apple Watch or whatever. During that same Apple event, they announced that HBO Now is going to launch on basically Apple devices at first. But I mean, I'm guessing it would eventually make its way over to consoles like HBO Go. HBO Now being the cable-free way of watching HBO, and I think they're going to charge $15 a month for that.
That's that's fine for that service. Wow.
Yeah, especially because HBO isn't just it's TV shows. People forget that HBO was basically a movie channel where they play much more recent movies than you would find on Netflix. So I mean, I think that's a worthwhile $15.
Yeah, like me and Sandra just watched the Lego movie, for Christ's sakes, the other night. Good movie, by the way.
I love that.
I can understand why people are upset that it didn't get nominated. Jeez.
Yeah, I still can't believe that. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. But How to Train Your Dragon 2 did. Okay. Even that movie's like hot trash.
Wait, that movie is what won? I thought Big Hero 6 won it.
Well, no, but it was nominated where the Lego movie was not. It's like, okay.
Okay, yeah. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was terrible.
It was terrible.
Like the story, it was like they had an idea for the second movie plot and the third movie plot, and they're like, you know what, let's just do both.
It's okay, let's throw out everything that made the first movie's story good. Like, okay, no.
It's like friggin' A, and I could bitch so much about the second movie. It's like, all right. Wait, so yeah, HBO Go sounds cool. Vue, keep in mind, folks, we don't know too much about it. All we know is it's a very clever idea, like using your PS4 as a cable box, more or less, to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, imagine if it's like $20 a month and you get USA. That's like, ka-ching, done.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox already has a thing with Dish Network. They have because Dish has, I forget what it's called, Sling, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Their service, and that's what they've had on Xbox for like a month or something. So I guess it'd be nice to see. I don't know. Hopefully this is good. Be good.
All right, we'll keep you posted as we find out more stuff about PlayStation Vue. Who knows, if it's, depending on price, Joe might be able to do a review for us.
Hopefully they offer like a free week or 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Like a WWE Network.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Sony has launched a store, a PlayStation Store, if you will, Mel.
Ooh.
Not the PlayStation Store on your console.
Not PSN, okay.
Yeah, like a store, a gear store, gear.playstation.com, where you can buy a bunch of PlayStation branded apparel and accessories and knickknacks and what have you.
Really?
Yeah. That's basically the story. But they're, I don't know, it's worth mentioning because people enjoy Sony's video game products, so I figured they would want a place to go display that enthusiasm.
Nice. I'll check that out. Maybe you could put a link in the description for this episode?
Sure, and I'll just give you the link now for you to look at it. But yeah, they've got some nice drinkware or drink stuff like I like buying glasses to put beer in. They've got some pretty nice ones.
Get drunk with Kratos.
Get drunk with Ellie. Actually, they've got
even better. Wow.
They've got a pint glass with the design on her shirt, the one with the 2 palm trees in the sun, with that etched on it. That's pretty nice for $15. Kind of want to get that. You can buy hoodies and sweatshirts and what have you. All the basic stuff from all the hot PlayStation brands, including Uncharted and The Last of Us and Infamous and Powers, I guess, because that's a very historic PlayStation property, I guess.
You can buy Delson's Karma Glass, which I guess is negative karma considering you're drinking alcohol. But
no, I think it's just a bad picture. I think the other half of it is white. So.
Oh, yeah, I can see it on there, but still, it's funny. I'll definitely be checking back for the Bloodborne apparel or stuff that you could get.
Yeah.
So very cool. Awesome. It's about time they did something like this. I can't believe they just now did something like that. Oh, the Ellie penny is so cute, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Penny or whatever. Anyway, what's next, Joe?
Let's see. In a different interview with Shuhei Yoshida on Game Informer, Game Informer during a conversation at GDC asked Yoshida how Sony plans to minimize disruptions to the PlayStation Network service moving forward. And he said, quote, "We are always working against these attacks. Actually, an attack happens every day. Literally every day. Some days are bigger and some days smaller. Some days they devise new means, new ways. It's like cat and mouse. We have a partner company we work with, and we always update the new ways the attacker might deploy. So it's a constant battle." End quote.
See, I read that. Yeah, I was hoping you grabbed that too. But yeah, it's very interesting. Like we've picked on him, like, oh, it's such an easy security system to get by, but an attack every day.
Yeah, I mean thinking about it, it's probably not too surprising. A big giant, network service like PlayStation Network is, inherently has a giant target on its back, basically. I'm guessing it's the same way as Xbox Live and even the Nintendo Network probably not every day, maybe every other day for the network on the Nintendo side, but I'm guessing it probably has its fair share of troublemakers as well.
Yeah, I was reading this interview with Phil Spencer that he did, and they asked him, how do you feel when you see like Sony go down? And he's like, I don't feel good at all. I mean, at the end of the day, how well they do is a reflection on how well we do. Because, when something like this happens, it makes people not trust buying games electronically, which is something we do as well. So this all hurts us. And then he goes on to say that all three of them, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, actually kind of work together in which they discuss attacks and what have you, and they figure out ways to booster all three of their systems.
Yeah.
Which is actually really, really cool that they're all working together like this.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think they can all agree on is that, hey, maybe we should probably work on a way where any of our customers are happy.
Yeah, and I kind of think I may even owe Sony kind of an apology. Like, they're like, I can count on one hand how many major attacks we have where it showed some sort of lasting effect. But if they're being attacked every day, that's, at the end of the day, that's a pretty good batting average.
I guess. I mean, then again, if only one parachute fails out of 1,000, I guess that's...
I mean, yeah, still. I mean, out of 1,000, that's 999 that lived to fight for you right there.
I mean, that one guy went splat pretty good, but I mean, pretty good batting average.
Yeah, I mean, that's just statistics. One out of every 1,000 parachute isn't going to work. Sorry, paratrooper.
but when it fails, oh boy, does it fail.
Hey, if you're that guy it fails on, do your country a favor. Try to land on somebody from the opposite side, man. Pretend you're doing the RVD frog splash. 5-star frog splash.
Oh, man.
That's a way to go, getting hit from a paratrooper with a 5-star. Oh. All right. Just forcing myself to not talk anything wrestling. So, do you have anything else to say on this subject, buddy?
No. I just thought it was interesting. Worth bringing up.
Me too. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Sony this morning, as we record, revealed the top-selling games for February 2015 on the PlayStation Store. Dying Light taking the top spot on PS4.
All right, and the more I hear about that, the more that, for the sake of the show, I have to buy this game.
Yeah, it's real good.
I assume it is, but at the same, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty strong contender for Game of the Year, at least as of this recording right here. So I'm gonna have to try it out.
Yeah, as far as the AAA games that have released so far, it's definitely the front runner. It's definitely better than The Order. It's definitely worth more of your money.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that may be up there, but I guess Dying Light is taking it. And
yeah, I mean, not very many AAA games have come out so far.
Now, I was listening to Kind of Funny. I think the video game, the game cast that they were doing, and they were talking about, does it matter when what comes out where? And of course, they make the joke about how Mad Max announced its release date, and then Metal Gear announces their release date, and they bring up Dying Light, and like that's a game that benefited amazingly thanks to when it came out, because like it didn't really have any competition when it came out.
Yeah.
It just like there was nothing else, so people who probably would have skipped this game were like, well, I might as well try it. I mean, it's the only thing out this month, and they loved it. I mean,
yeah.
So
I tried going back to Far Cry 4, and as much as I like that game, it's just not as much fun to get around in that game because you can't do any of the cool parkour shit. It's like, man, I miss doing all the cool parkour shit, so I went back to Dying Light instead. Even though, besides that, Far Cry 4 is still a very good game to play, but it's like I just missed fucking ziplining and jumping and climbing, so I went back to that.
Nice.
Anyway, besides Dying Light, on the top charting PS4 games, we've got at number 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Surprisingly big hit. Wow.
No, I'm not very surprised because those games always sold.
Oh, nothing surprises Joe. I forget.
Dragon Ball has always sold well. Those games. So, Evolve is at number 3.
Jobbing to Dragon Ball. Wow.
Yeah, that is surprising because that was the big game release for February.
It was, but two things. One, Monster Hunter's better. And
I'm not sure how that relates to Evolve, but okay.
Look, because one is a game where you're both hunting giant monsters, Joe, and one is better at it. And number two, despite the astronomical scores it's getting from like the major places like IGN and what have you, I am starting to view Descent that it's sort of falling in the Titanfall thing. Like the multiplayer is good, but it's the same thing each and every single time.
Right.
And there really is no story. You're just hunting monsters against somebody else, and it's fun for a while, but there's nothing to really continue pushing him. Like Angry Joe, not you, Joe, Angry Joe, did a review of the game, which was surprisingly not pretty critical. And after listening to it, especially when he was talking about the endings for the game, Jesus Christ, yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem of a game that, doesn't have a story and is very co-op heavy is that, you do need a good group of friends to keep it fresh, I guess. Because, the plan with Evolve is that, they'll be releasing maps for free so that everybody can get, new experiences, and they'll sell new characters, but, all the maps will be free. But besides that, there's not a whole lot that they can do with that game besides, release more stuff. So hopefully that's something that people can stick around with, because I do want to get back into it. I played it at E3, and I haven't gotten the full game yet, but I want to dive into it sometime.
And what's number 4, Joe?
The Order, 1886.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, even after everything, it was in the top 5, Joe. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, since these are all, digital releases or digital games that they rank, Sony makes it very easy to buy games on PlayStation 4 dashboard. Like when you turn on the PS4, it takes you straight to the what's new section basically, and you can kind of see like, oh, hey, pre-order this game. And, the order, of course, had a giant presence for weeks leading up to its release. Like, hey, pre-order the order, pre-order the order, pre-order the order. And then when it finally came out, hey, buy the order, buy the order, buy the order. And, you just click on the button, takes you to the store. It's like, yeah, $60. This looks cool. Very easy to get. It's a very easy game to hook people on. The premise of the game is very cool and it's very easy sell. So it's not surprising to see it up there. But then again, once you play it, you're like, oh, that probably wasn't worth my $60.
The thing that gets me is the order. That has to be a really huge game to like buying it digitally. That's going to take up so much space in your hard drive, especially with the detail and the graphics and all that.
I think it was like 40 gigs when I installed it.
Ooh.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you looked at that information when you installed the game when you had it, but.
No, I didn't. I was just happy I got it on disc.
Yeah, I was happy to rent it. I was like, okay, glad that only cost me $6.
Indeed, but yeah, it's pretty cool that it lasts. That pretty much seals it for me that it's going to end up that we're getting a sequel for this game.
Yeah.
All right. What was number 5?
Life is Strange, Episode 1.
What?
Yeah, from Don't Nod Entertainment, their episodic game that's being published by Square Enix, I think. I've been meaning to check that out. Hopefully, I think I'll check that out soon. Let's see, that's followed by Minecraft PS4 Edition, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 7, Shadow of Mordor at number 8, Little Big Planet 3 at number 9, and Resident Evil, the HD remaster, rounds out the top 10.
HD Remastered is still doing really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a remaster of a very good remaster. The GameCube remaster was very good. People know that. And to stretch that out into HD, very easy stuff.
All right. Now, on that game, how much do you want to bet that that's a PlayStation Plus game before the end of the year?
Oh, yeah, definitely, for
sure. I agree.
Let's see. On the PS3 side, Minecraft was number 1, followed by Resident Evil, number 2, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 3, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare at number 4. Doesn't show up until number 12 on the PS4 list, interestingly enough. Life is Strange, Episode 1, rounding out the top 5. Dragon Ball Xenoverse at number 6. So, very interesting. PS3 rankings.
I guess just more people have moved on to the PS4 at this point.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Which is good for Sony. Very good.
Yeah, definitely. On the Vita list, Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment.
Jesus Christ!
Number 1 at this point. Not surprising. Minecraft PS Vita Edition at number 2. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z at number 3. I don't know what that game is. Is that a new game?
Wait, Dragon Ball Z, a bottle of Z?
Battle of Z.
Okay, a bottle of Z.
Drink up!
See, how isn't there an energy drink called a bottle of Z right there?
I don't know.
Probably in Japan there is, though. A bottle of Z.
Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1 at number 4, and Monster Monpiece at number 5. So those are your rankings for this month.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I was not expecting the order to do as well as it did.
I guess digitally, so. It's surprising that many people bought it digitally.
Yeah. Freaking A. All right. What is next, Joe?
Rockstar launched the much anticipated Grand Theft Auto Online heists this week, and of course, as a network thing, of course, there were issues upon its launch.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rockstar has acknowledged these issues, saying, quote, "We are aware of some issues today being Tuesday when they launched the service, or the heists, with players having problems connecting to GTA Online, as well as issues with the Xbox Live service. We are working to restore full access to GTA Online as quickly as possible." They have a status page that I'm looking at now. It seems that everything is in order. As of last night, when I was collecting all this news, the Rockstar status page was all the different networks, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4. They all said limited, which was troubling. But right now, as of this recording, everything seems to be up and running smoothly. So hopefully, by the time you're listening to this, you can jump into your heists scot-free.
Yes, you can. Hopefully, at the end of this podcast, you'll be able to jump in your murder simulator, mowing down people, stealing money that you can't spend in real life,
Corrupting your moral fiber.
and obviously showing you how to use handguns and do this in real life, of course, too.
Yeah,
Indeed.
of course. Yep.
Good job, Rockstar.
Yeah.
And we're kidding, for Christ's sake, in case people write.
Yes, please know that we're kidding.
Please don't write in like, I can't believe you said that it teaches you. No, it's a joke, goddamn.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Lower your shield. Hey, oh, no. And it comes back full circle, people. That's how jokes work. So, now you bought the PS4 of Grand Theft Auto 5, right?
I did. I haven't. Besides the first day that I played it, I haven't gone back to it. But I look forward to getting back to it soon because I figure there's gonna be a pretty big lull in video game releases because my friend gave me a $40 gift card on Amazon and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna buy a game, and I was like, or reserve a game, and I looked and like there's like 5 games between now and June by the time like Arkham Knight comes out, or 5 games between when now and Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just play a bunch of other games that I've been piling up.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, from June until so just after Arkham Knight is released in June, and then from there up until September 1st, there's like nothing.
Yeah, like I put all the games that are coming out on my Amazon wish list just to keep track of them. Let's see, like the games that I put on were. Let's see, next week, like Final Fantasy Type 0 HD comes out, and so does Bloodborne, right? Mm-hmm. Those 2 games come out next week, and then...
Actually, I think it comes out the week after Bloodborne, but yeah.
Right, okay. And then, like, what is it, Mortal Kombat X comes out, in April. Yeah,
I believe that's April 10th, if I'm not mistaken, and then, which is also the same day that Xenoblade Chronicles on 3DS comes out.
Right. And then pretty much nothing until Batman Arkham Knight, on June 2nd, and then another big gap until Metal Gear Solid 5. So I was like, maybe I'll just hold on to this gift card to see what reviews well. Like, I'll just wait. Like, I think I'll probably use it on Final Fantasy H Type 0, but I'll wait to see if people actually think it's a good game or not. Before I pull the trigger on that. But yeah, like I figure I'll just dig through my backlog and stuff. Maybe I'll finally play Resident Evil Revelations on my Wii U. I've had that game for like 13 months now.
There you go. And hey, maybe you pick up Revelations 2, which may or may not go on sale in between then. So there you go.
Yeah, and when I'm finally done with all that stuff, then I'll probably get back into GTA 5.
All right. Hey, so what else happened this week, buddy?
Harmonix has launched a song request page for Rock Band 4.
That's smart. Wow.
It is. Yeah, it's very simple. You just go to a special website where you just type in the song and the artist that you want, and you submit it. And of course, they make they note that this page is not guaranteed that a request will make it into the game. We can't promise anything, but we will read every request to get a better understanding of what the community most wants to see in Rock Band. Of course, they've already got what they're calling a top tier soundtrack. They're building that for the retail release, I guess. I guess the songs that you'll start with, and then whatever songs they bring back via. The free music they get from having bought all that stuff before. But I don't know. It's very smart to do.
Is there any songs that you're going to go over there and request, Joe?
I don't think so. Not necessarily. I've got a ton of music already via DLC, so I don't know. I don't know if we can request songs that were there before, but the license is expired on them, so you can't buy them anymore now. Like, it'd be nice to see Metallica come back. Those songs are good.
I'm going to put a request for... have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
the scene with the Jesus where he's first introduced. They're playing a Spanish version of Hotel California in the background.
You want that version of Hotel California?
I want that exact version in the game. So, folks, if you want to help me out, head over to this page, put in Gypsy Kings, Hotel California in there, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're not above putting in comedy music. Like they put in Stephen Colbert's Hello, Charlene, I think.
And I'm pretty sure they put in Timmy and the Lord of the Underworld.
They did do that?
And I remember that. Mainly,
so, it's not outside the realm of possibility that you can get the song in, Malcolm.
Mainly because I remember my roommate who was on vocals singing, Timmy. You're like,
dun, 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 dun.
You're like, Timmy, because there's an actual slow part of the song where he's just slowly saying Timmy.
Yeah, the breakdown in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. Lords of the Underworld. Oh gosh. So I wasn't even that huge into the music genre of games back in the day, mainly because I was garbage at it. But I have to say, everything that Harmonix is doing is actually getting me pumped. So good for them. I can only imagine what it's like for you, who is an actual fan of the game, Joe.
Oh, my God, man. I can't believe it.
So, once again, hashtag Gypsy Kings, Hotel California. It's like, hey, we'll see what the people do, because, here's the thing. Not that many people write into the show, Joe. However, we were like at number 12 on Podomatic out of in the video game genre, and there's like over 1,000 of them. So we have fans. They're out there.
They're out there somewhere, goddamn.
So help me. Come on. Let's make a stand right now. Head over there. We'll put the link in the description too. Well, go over there. Do Hotel California by the Gypsy Kings. Let's get it in there, folks. Let's get it in there. Come on. All right. So, what else happened this week, buddy?
Let's see. The ESRB they released the specifics behind their M rating for Batman Arkham Knight on their website, as they do with all games.
Wait, did you read this?
Yes, I did.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, it's basically just content descriptors. They never go into the Joker comes back, and they don't get into story specifics. They're just like, this is a description of what happened in a very sterilized way. It's like someone died in this manner, and that's what they put in their summary. So I felt safe.
If you guys were listening in when we talked about the potential spoilers that the collector's edition did, Joe nearly flipped out and quit the show. He was so against talking about it. I was shocked you even read that. You took that risk, Joe.
Well, I mean, because the ESRB is very sterilized in how they describe things. They just say someone died this way. They don't say this character came back out of nowhere and murdered this other person. It's like, no, they just they're very sterile.
In the scene where Jason Todd reveals himself as the Arkham Knight, God damn it!
Yeah, they don't go that far. They do you want me to read this or read some of the highlights? I guess.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
All right, the content descriptors. The little sentences that they put on the back of the box. Rated M for blood, language, suggestive themes, and violence. Rating summary. This is an action-adventure game in which players primarily assume the role of Batman as he battles several villains spreading chaos across Gotham City. And that's pretty much as spoilery as the description gets. Like, oh, really? Batman, huh? In Gotham City, no less. Players traverse a variety of locations around Gotham while battling thugs, examining crime scenes, and occasionally rescuing hostages. Players engage in melee-style combat using punches, kicks, and gadgets, e.g. batarangs, explosives. Enemies cry out in pain when struck, and some takedowns are highlighted by brief slow-motion effects and loud impact sounds. Some sequences allow players to use tank-like vehicles with machine gun turrets and rockets to shoot enemies. A vehicle's wheels are also used to torture an enemy in one sequence. That's probably where the M rating comes from.
Probably.
Yeah. Cutscenes depict characters getting shot on and off camera while restrained or unarmed. That probably added a little bit to it as well.
Doesn't help, no.
Large bloodstains / pools of blood appear in crime scenes and in the aftermath of violent acts. One room depicts a person torturing a character on a bloody operating table. So many alarm bells here for this M rating. Let's see. During the course of the game, players can shoot unarmed characters and a hostage. That's interesting. Neon signs in a red light district read live nude girls and XXX. The word bitch, gobshite, and ass appear in the dialogue. And that is the end of the rating summary.
Huh. All right, that wasn't that bad.
But, yeah, basically torture in the game.
Yeah. There's going to be a scene where Batman attaches 2 jumper cables to the Joker's nipples. That's going to be...
the descriptor for how you torture is weird. It's like a vehicle's wheels are used to torture enemies. Like, do you park a car on top of them and do a burnout or something? What are you doing? How does that work?
The only thing I can think of is maybe you attach a thug to the bumper of the Batmobile and you drag him around for a bit. I don't know.
That's not really using the wheels directly.
All right, fine. Then you grind his face off with it. Like,
but either way, it's like, I don't understand. Like, I don't think Batman would torture somebody, would he? I don't know. We'll see.
See, that's the thing. Yeah, like you would know this better than me because you read the comic books. Like when I see him on TV or in the animated series or what have you, he would make people afraid that he was going to torture him.
Yeah, like in The Dark Knight, like he hangs that one dude over the building, and he gets his information that way, and then he drops him after he gets his information, but he doesn't like torture him.
Like the closest I could think, or I think that was The Dark Knight, where he just like. The guy's like, I'm not going to die if I fall from here. And he's like, yeah, I know. And he shoves him out the window.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of torture. Yeah. I forgot that he drops him before he starts asking him questions.
He's just like, and I'll just keep doing this. That's fine. Oh, he blows out both his legs. So.
Oh, God.
And there's like the old joke that people would make that, Batman doesn't kill, he just paralyzes you from the waist down.
Yeah, like that's the funny thing about, most of all the games that have already come out, like, the combat's awesome, obviously, and it's the slow motion at the very end of each room that you clear. Like the last guy that you knock out is always like a slow mo thing, and it's always like giving him an obvious concussion by kneeing him in the face or like breaking his arm or his leg or whatever. It's like, man, Batman with that justice, huh?
The website How To?
Uh-huh.
Like, they did one where, like, how to be a vigilante, how to, like, aid the cops.
Uh-huh.
And they do it with Batman. And it was like step two, going to step 2. Step 2, do not interfere with, hey, what are you doing? And it shows Batman, like, tampering with evidence and looking through his stuff. It's like, hey, dude, you just committed a felony. And it's like, when you find the people responsible for it, call the... What are you doing? And it's like Batman beating the shit out of him and forcing a confession out of him. It's like, like the last step is like, you fucking idiot. None of this is admissible in court. Oh, it was great. Oh, God. But yeah, I still can't believe the Arkham game is just coming in a few months.
Yeah, I mean... It was supposed to come out this past October, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, you didn't really believe it was coming out.
No, I was like, really? Like you? It's like, okay, if you think so, but no one really believes it.
Okay, now we've had some time. Have you had a chance to check out the Arkham Knight comic book that came out on Comixology?
No, I've actually been catching up on other comic books. That, like last week, I finally went to my comic book store after like 4 months, and they had. I have my pull list there. They're like, here you go. And this is a pile of like 20 books. I was like, ah, shit. So I've been digging through that. So
I got to ask, who do you think the Arkham Knight is going to end up being? Do you think it's somebody new, or do you think it's going to be like the big fear is it's just going to be the Joker in that suit?
Oh, God. I just hope it's not the Joker. That's all I care about. It's like, just don't let it be the Joker.
Yeah, okay, I'm all Jokered out at this point.
Like, I don't care if it's a new character or if it's a surprise appearance by, another character. But just as long as it's not the Joker, I'm pretty sure Rocksteady has something good.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to end up being Jason Todd, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
You just said you hope it's not the Joker. Now you're like, oh, what this is this is why it's always the Joker. Reactions that.
I just don't understand your enthusiasm for Jason Todd.
Because he's awesome. That's why.
Yet people voted for him to die.
Because that was back when he wasn't awesome.
Back when they had a poll, it's like, hey, should Jason Todd live or die? People overwhelmingly said, kill this fool. No one likes him.
Hey, you're comparing the then to the now, buddy.
Yeah.
Now he's a badass motherfucker. You don't mess with him.
Yeah.
See him outsmarting Talia al Ghul the freaking after they killed Damon Wayne. Spoilers. But,
no one cares.
Hey, he was awesome. And number 2, that was a great story arc too. Even though him coming back with superpowers is kind of confusing, but whatever. Most people thought I was just kidding just now, but no, he's back with superpowers. Oh, man. I think it's either going to be Jason Todd or probably more than likely the Joker. Yes, because I've explained this. The Arkham universe is essentially WCW. They don't know how to push anybody new to the top. That World Heavyweight title is just going to keep going around Joker at the end of the video game. Like, you'll go in thinking that it's Hugo Strange or somebody or Ra's al Ghul that's behind everything. But no, at the end of the day, the last guy is the Joker that you fight. He's in the main event spot.
What if it's Damian Wayne?
See, that would be pretty cool. I would be fine with it not being Jason Todd if it ended up being Damian Wayne. Because, once again, this is a different universe. They don't have to play by the continuity of the comic books.
Right. They can say, I mean, this is obviously an adult or an adult-sized person in the Arkham Knight as the Arkham Knight. So I guess they could just say, hey, we did this a few years earlier than we did in the comics.
So you could have him come back old enough to be, going toe-to-toe with Batman. It works.
Yeah, basically. Introduce him later, I guess, in Batman's timeline.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys that they don't use that could be pretty, pretty cool. So you have a whole the Batman's Rogue Gallery is just awesome.
Yeah.
Friggin' A, you could have it be, have it be Egghead. That'd be great. Are you ready?
Calendar Man is back.
Are you ready for your execution, Batman? Your death will be exquisite.
Oh, God. Please stop this.
The yoke's on you, Batman.
No!
Okay, Jeff. Next story before I keep going.
Speaking of controversial game ratings, Malcolm.
Uh-oh.
Last month, a Turkish ministry, this is on Kotaku, began a probe to investigate whether or not Minecraft should be banned for being, quote, too violent. Today, the results of the investigation were announced. Minecraft should be banned. Turkish websites, Hurriyet, Daily News, and Leader Gamer report that the country's Family and Social Policies Ministry is now calling for Minecraft to be banned in the region. The ministry's report has been sent to the Legal Affairs Department, along with instructions for the legal process for the ban to begin. Ultimately, whether the game is banned or not will be decided in the Turkish courts. Let's see. Here's a quote. Although the game can be seen as encouraging creativity in children by letting them build houses, farmlands, and bridges, mobs, i.e. hostile creatures, must be killed in order to protect these structures. In short, the game is based on violence, the report stated. The ministry feels as though children may confuse the in-game world with the real world and even begin torturing animals oblivious to the pain they're inflicting, Malcolm. The report added that not only would Minecraft cause social isolation, but that the online component might lead to internet bullying.
What?
Ander Kaplan from the Chamber of Internet Cafes in Ankara told local newspaper Haberturk, there is not a single country that has banned Minecraft. There's a reason for that, obviously, because that is dumb and silly. So there you go, Malcolm. Turkey believes that Minecraft is not only inherently violent, but it might cause children to torture animals or something.
Okay, well, number one, if you played Minecraft, you know that'd be bullshit because the children would be too scared of the animal, thinking it might explode and take them out. So they'd be more inclined to run away from animals than engage in them. Number two, it endorses internet bullying. What?
I don't know.
Like, the Minecraft community is one of the nicest communities there is in video games.
How come I only report this news? I'm not.
The hell's up with Turkey? My God.
Nothing good.
And number two, I'm not really in the know with, like, the world news and what have you, but them freaking out about the game, like, condoning violence and what have you, aren't they at war?
Pretty much every country's at war somehow. So
it's like freaking A. It's like, it's not like there's an escape. It's not like they're not going to learn about violence somewhere, dude. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's Minecraft. Come on.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Well, after that confounding bit of news, what else happened this week?
Let's see. Konami has detailed the save file transfer process for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain. I forgot that there was some sort of save thing that you could do to carry over. But very simple. If you played Ground Zeroes on PS3, you can transfer your save to the PS4 or PS3 game for the Phantom Pain. If you're on PS4, you can only transfer it to PS4. You can't go back down to PS3.
Because why would you at that point?
Pretty much, yeah. And the same goes for Xbox. You can go from 360 to Xbox One or Xbox One X. Not back down. I don't know what the save functionality actually is. What's supposed to carry over? Do you know about them?
No idea. I mean, I could have sworn you mentioned something like the hostages you rescue and...
oh, yeah, that's probably it.
But, I haven't heard too much on that since.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because pretty much like, what is it? Okay. Yeah, pretty much, what was it? What was the game? Portable Ops. There you go. Why couldn't I remember that? Portable Ops and Peace Walker. They had that recruitment thing where you can basically kidnap enemy soldiers and turn them over to your cause. I guess that's what's happening here. People that you rescue.
Yeah, one of which, by the way, is Hideo Kojima himself.
That is true. I want to replay this, or after replay Ground Zeroes. I want to see all of it.
You could play that during the drought.
Yeah, that's actually one of the games I was planning on doing.
Yeah, me too. Because I played like the main mission, and they were like, "Oh, you got all this extra stuff." And I'm like,
Plus, I'm not sure if my Ground Zero save, if I transferred that save from my launch PS4 to my new one. So,
and I still
have to play it anyway.
And I still haven't done everything, like gotten all the badges and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, still plenty of stuff to do in that game. So all right, what else is next?
All right, we got some hopeful developers here in a couple of different stories. For one, Visceral Games, a developer of games like Dead Space and the upcoming Battlefield Hardline, they said that they would like to revisit Dead Space. In a quote here on IGN, they say, quote, many, many people here at Visceral have a warm spot in their heart for Dead Space, and right now we're busy with Battlefield Hardline and other things. But it's definitely something we'd love to look at again. There's definitely a lot of interest internally for us to pick that up again at a future date. So, yeah, I mean, people obviously love Dead Space. It was kind of seen as a return to true survival horror after, Resident Evil had started kind of veering off the tracks as an action franchise, basically.
Yeah, the game's messed up, man. My God.
Although, Dead Space 3 was a little bit more coldly received when they're like, no, it's got co-op. It's like, well, what the fuck?
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the first ones. I never got a chance to, even though I got it on PlayStation Plus, I never got a chance to sit down and play the third one. But I loved the first and the second one. And by the way, those are two games I wouldn't mind to see remastered and put on the next gen consoles, because why not? Yeah. And two, imagine how grotesque the monsters would be on the PS4, Joe.
Pretty grotesque.
Oh my God. So yeah, I'm a huge mark for Dead Space. I think that's a great little series, and yeah, I would love to see it again. What about you? What do you think about Dead Space?
I played the original Dead Space. Really loved that game. I started playing Dead Space 2. I just never got around to finishing it. But that's a game. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll add that to my drop pile. I've got Dead Space 3 as well. I got that game on a Black Friday sale 2 or 3 years ago. On top of having it on PlayStation Plus as well. So yeah, maybe I'll make some room for that. I'll have a survival horror marathon between that and Resident Evil Revelations.
Very good. All right, what's next?
Let's see. The other hopeful developer is the aforementioned Don't Nod Entertainment, the creators of Life is Strange and Remember Me. They said in a quote to Silicon Arrow that they would love to make Remember Me too, saying, quote, "I would absolutely love to work on a sequel. We know that what we would do for Remember Me 2, the main story has been written. We know what we would like to add to the recipe. We know what we would fix. It's a game that's ready to be made, but that decision is Capcom's to make. But right now our focus is Life is Strange. I really hope that we'll be able to work on more Life is Strange beyond the 5 episodes. We need to capitalize on what we have done. There's a balance of trying different things and capitalizing on what we know. For Season 2, we started bouncing ideas off of each other. Obviously, we need to see, and Square Enix needs to see how the first season does to really decide whether we kick it off or not. So it's not in the works, but we have started the very early stages of conception at Don't Nod. So it looks like they've got a lot of ideas for sequels to their stuff.
Nice.
Hopefully those 2 publishers, Capcom for Remember Me and Square Enix for Life is Strange, pull the trigger, because those games, I think, deserve more.
I remember Me, at least critically, being disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I was more generous than most in my review of it, but I don't disagree with people's, problems with it. The story wasn't perfect for sure. The combat could have used some work. I thought for what I liked it just fine, but I could see where people did not enjoy it. And if they know what to fix, I mean, that's encouraging. And I mean, the game was just beautiful too. Their Neo Paris or whatever it was called was just very visually striking. I'd love to see that on PS4.
Very good. All righty, what's next?
Creative Assembly, the creators of Alien Isolation and other games on PC that I can't quite remember, are working on what they're calling, quote, another multi-platform AAA blockbuster.
That could be anything, Jesus Christ.
It could be anything, Malcolm, but that is what a job listing on their website says. For online/multiplayer programmer on the console team. So, yeah. So, is it going to be a sequel to Alien Isolation? Is it going to be something else entirely, Malcolm? Who knows? But as a multi-platform release, it'll probably release on PlayStation 4. So I figure it was worth bringing up.
Aside from Alien Isolations, what other big budget games have they done?
I forget. They think they did a PC game, an RTS. Was it Total War, I think, for Sega? I don't remember. I'd have to Google it. Creative Assembly. This is great radio. Me typing up Creative Assembly into Google as I search for what they've done.
Now, Total War, that's one of those tank games, right?
They're an RTS for sure. I'm not sure, real-time strategy. I don't know if it's necessarily tanks. All right, let's see here. Yeah, they've done a number of Total War games. None of these seem like they would involve tanks. There are games like Medieval Total War, Rome Total War, so Napoleon Total War. So I don't see much room for tanks in those games. But they've done a ton of Total War.
All right, so either Total War or Alien Isolation.
Or maybe something else entirely. But either way, I don't think it'll be Total War because as a multi-platform thing, I don't think they'd be bringing a real-time strategy game to console. It's not usually a good path for developers to take.
That's true. Well, Alien Isolation was well received, so I wouldn't be shocked if it was Alien Isolation 2.
Yeah.
I wonder how much focus goes into making technology look like crap in that game.
Doesn't look like crap. Doesn't look like crap. It looks like...
Well, no. Because keep in mind, like, this is actually a compliment because this is going straight from that. What was it? Was Aliens 80s or 70s?
79, I think, for Alien.
All right, that's it. Fucking old. But anyway, 79. And so their technology is actually like Apple DOS computers.
Yeah, old, not ugly.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's like, right, you know what I mean. It looks like. I'm surprised there's not points where you're popping in VHS tapes to get information. I mean, the attention to detail is absolutely amazing that they went that far to make, like, you know, the spaceship technology look so basic.
It's another game I got to play.
Yeah, and you own that one too, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Freaking hey, you're already well stocked for this drought, man. I don't know what you're upset about. All right, what's next? I
don't know if you remember last week, Malcolm, where we mentioned that Game Freak, the creators of Pokemon, were working on a game with Sega. Do you remember this?
Yes. Did they announce it already?
They did announce it. They are working on a... This is great, by the way. They are working on a side-scrolling game called Tembo, the Badass Elephant. And it is a side-scroller about a commando elephant, basically.
He doesn't wear underwear?
Not that kind of commando, Malcolm.
Oh, okay.
Players control the elephant as he jumps, smashes, swings, and butt stomps through an enemy force called Phantom, which has invaded Shell City. Tembo is called in to aid the National Army in its struggle against Phantom, unleashing approximately 7.5 tons of destruction. Sega says that Tembo, the Badass Elephant, features 17 levels of 2D side-scrolling adventure and, quote, unique comic book-style art. The game will be released on PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One sometime during summer 2015. Interestingly, this game is not coming to Wii U, which is funny because, you know, it's the developer behind Pokemon, so it's like, okay.
Well, it has the word ass in it, Joe.
That is true.
Nintendo can't have that on there.
It'll just be called Tembo the Elephant. But here, I'll send you the link so you can take a look at the art style. The art style is really nice. I think it looks really cool.
The Tembo the Delinquent.
Yeah. But yeah, like the game, it's got a very nice art style. I look forward to seeing what they've got in store for that.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah, and he's just going through tanks and what have you. Great radio here. Oh, all right. I'll give this a shot.
People underestimate the offensive power of an elephant, Malcolm. Like as we mentioned when we were talking about Far Cry 4 during the Game of the Year podcast.
I was about to bring up Far Cry 4. It was like, nope, I saw Far Cry 4. I know they can be quite effective.
You can ride an elephant into an enemy outpost and just clear a house very easily. So don't underestimate an elephant, basically, in combat.
Oh, never. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. What about you?
I am, too.
Beauty. Put that down for the drought. All right, what else happened this week, buddy?
See, Telltale Games has announced that Tales from the Borderlands Episode 2 will be arriving next week. Next week being March 17th. And the usual dates. So PlayStation platforms, North America is looking at March 17th. Europe, March 18th. Xbox Live, March 18th. And what have you. So there you go. The second episode is called, what's it called?
Oh, God.
I forget what it's called.
It was something silly. I forget. It was like a pun off of another famous title. Gosh darn it.
Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. The first episode was hysterical. It was like Telltale's version of a comedy. And just the way the delivery and the way they were telling the story, which works absolutely fantastically with the Borderlands universe, man. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it quite well. And let me see here. Tales from the Release Day.
Atlas Mugged.
Assless Smugged. Okay.
No, Atlas Smugged, not Assless Smugged.
Assless Smugged versus the Bat Timbo, the badass elephant. So, yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. Alrighty, what's next?
Oh, man. So, apparently, Project Cars is just Gran Turismo now, because that has been delayed one more time to mid-May. Yeah, that game was expected to originally release this in November 2014, but then it was pushed to March 2015 to give it more polish, and then it was later bumped again to like the first week of April, and now it's coming sometime in mid-May, according to the developer. He said, quote, "Despite our long heritage and pedigree in making critically acclaimed racing games, Project Cars is by far the grandest and most intricately detailed of them all," said Ian Bell, head of Slightly Mad Studios. Despite, therefore, the game being 99.9% complete, the remaining 0.1% attending to small issues and bugs has been tricky to anticipate. We're absolutely dedicated to delivering a groundbreaking experience, and by targeting mid-May, fans can be assured that's what they'll receive. He also said that as compensation for the delay, Slightly Mad Studios will give Project Cars players some free content, the details of which will be announced later. He says, quote, "This gift that we're sure is going to excite fans will be available from day one and revealed shortly."
There you go. How are you handling it, buddy?
Well enough, I guess. I've developed a very nice chitin against racing game delays, just based on being a Gran Turismo fan. So hopefully when it does come out, it is as polished as they say it will be.
Nice.
And I wonder what that content will be, their makeup content, whether it'll be like a car or a track. Probably a car.
Probably. Maybe they'll give you like 1 million credits so you can buy all the cars you want, Joe.
Woo.
All right, what's next?
And one more delay, finally. This is the last bit of news that I have. And this is that Homefront, The Revolution. I don't know if you remember this game, Malcolm.
Forever ago, yeah.
That has been delayed officially until 2016 as well. Last we heard, according to Eurogamer, the game was set for a vague 2015 launch. But this was before, of course, developer Crytek UK was closed down and then bought by Deep Silver, which relaunched it as Deep Silver Dam Buster Studios. All right, so we are excited that Deep Silver's acquisition of the Homefront IP and assets from Crytek has allowed development of Homefront: The Revolution to continue with minimum disruption, Dam Buster boss Hazit Zala said. The team here believes we are working on something truly special. Dam Buster Studios are an extraordinarily talented group, added Deep Silver boss Dr. Clemens Kondratic. We are giving the team every opportunity to turn Homefront: The Revolution into a best-selling title and have set a 2016 release date to provide them the time they need to achieve this. You can expect to hear more about the game later this year. I'm assuming he means either E3 or at the latest Gamescom, I guess.
I would reckon one of those, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know if you remember, but when we talked about the giant list that Sony made and published for games that were set for release in 2015, this is one of the games that was very notably absent from it. And I was like, that game, I haven't heard from that game since E3 2014. So, not surprising at all.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say on this one as I'm not a huge Project Cars guy.
We're talking about Homefront, Malcolm.
Homefront, sorry.
I don't think there are many cars to drift in this game.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
That would change the complexion of the war, I think.
We did not account for the sweet-ass BMW M3 with the racing package.
Yeah, just have Vin Diesel be like in a DLC where him and the Fast and Furious crew save America.
They probably could at this point.
Yeah, that movie is coming. That'll be Fast.
That movie's going to be awesome. Holy shit.
That'll be Fast 10, where the cars combine and form Menasor to take on the Soviet Union. So, I'm not shocked then by this either. Now, so you said this was the last bit of news that you had, correct?
Yes. Did you have something, Malcolm?
Yeah, I actually have one thing I want to talk about, and that's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Woo, woo.
Mortal Kombat had two
You have more
things.
shocking character reveals, Malcolm?
Yeah, we had some, well, no, not really a shocking one. See, Lucky's not even shocked by it. Lucky, no. But there had been rumors up until this point. Gosh darn it, Lucky. Had been, and that's what Lucky is talking about right now, that certain characters were going to be announced pretty soon. And they were recently announced in a trailer this week, and I'm actually pretty stoked by them myself. In that, number one, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade were rumored to be announced thanks to a leak on Amazon France or something, or Amazon Italy, which I don't think is the first time that Amazon Italy leaked something like this.
Ed Boon also tweeted out a picture of a cage, so it's like, okay.
And recently it was revealed as we got, if not today, I think last night, we got the Cage family trailer reveal for Mortal Kombat 10, where we got to see both Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade revealed, and we get
some real deep cuts.
Indeed, and you got to see like an idea of their relationship. As once again, Cassie Cage is their daughter, and we find out in the trailer that they're actually divorced for whatever the reason. Why? You're going to have to buy the game and play the story mode, buddy, to find out.
I didn't even care whether they were married in the first place, but whatever.
Yeah, and their interplay with each other is hysterical, as it's very classic, you know. And Johnny Cage is still very much Johnny Cage. And we get to see them in action. Like, they actually take on Chinook, who is also revealed there, but may just be like a story character. No word yet if he'll be playable. Spoiler, he'll be playable. Don't worry. And my favorite part is we got to see Johnny Cage's fatality. Which, have you seen this yet, Joe?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. Johnny Cage gets behind his opponent, then forces his hands through their chest from the back, and starts to split them open at the chest. And the camera angle goes from the front of the guy's chest, and you see Johnny Cage peer through the hole that's not now there. And he yells out, "Here's Johnny," which I thought was hysterical. Johnny Cage isn't dressed like a frickin' 1980s professional wrestler anymore, as he's like in street clothes. As I have a feeling that Ed Boon is now pretty much focusing on this family as the main characters of the game now. Like I think. I think Cassie Cage is now the main character of the franchise. As from what I could tell from the story mode, everything is focusing on the Earth Realm Defense Forces, which is actually led by Cassie Cage and Sonya Blade, and it even looks like Johnny's in there. So, and which is kind of disheartening because my favorite character, Joe, still hasn't been announced.
Liu Kang,
Mr. You know that.
I'm sure he'll be.
You say that, but he has been skipped before. There is a precedent where there have been Mortal Kombats where he's not even in it. Like 3 Mortal Kombats went by with no Liu Kang because they killed him in Deadly Alliance, and then finally Ed Boon's like, "All right, fine, here," and they brought him back as like a zombie. That went over great. So I'm very curious to see if he'll make it in, but it looks to me like they're making like the figurehead of it be the female character. Maybe this is like in, you know, as sort of a counter move, because if you remember, Joe, the first Mortal Kombat, or excuse me, Mortal Kombat 9, I should say, how the females looked, and you know how the chest looked, and the way the proportions worked. It made no sense that they were ripping people in half without ripping themselves in half in the process. So. And, you know, Ed Boon did go under fire. So with this new one, not only is, like, the main character potentially female now, but he's also gone on record saying, like, the character models are going to be realistic. And from what I could tell, yeah, you know, from what I've seen of the characters, yeah, like, their breast size aren't ridiculous. and they've got some meat around the hips, so it looks good so far.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat, by the way, I think I'm just going to buy digitally because this is a fantastic example of a game that I know I'm going to love, and I'm not going to trade in at any time.
Yeah, and as a fighting game, it's the kind of thing that you want to be able to just throw on as easily as possible.
Yeah, because I've turned Mortal Kombat on just to show people the fatalities. Like friends come over, they're like, "Hey, I got to show you this stuff," and I'll put on like noob Cybots ripping a guy in half trick for the fatality. So. Yeah, I'm actually getting more and more impressed with the story mode for Mortal Kombat. Whether you believe that a story exists in fighting games or not, Joe, it's there. It's labeled.
I mean, obviously, I know it exists. I just think they're dumb.
They are not. Yeah. Okay, the story mode in the last Mortal Kombat is pretty much, and this is going to sound like I'm browbeating it, but I'm not. But that story was excellent. It explained everything without being too ridiculous. I mean, yes, at the end of the game, it's a story about a interdimensional tournament that decides who rules through martial arts, but at the same time, it explained everything quite well. I understood why Jax had robotic arms, or why...
Burning questions finally answered.
Yeah, and why we had 3 of these, even though they're supposed to happen like once every 1,000 years, according to the story of the first game. But anyway, okay, so there's that. So I'm excited. The Cage family look good. Go check out that trailer. It's actually very funny. And you're just watching Sonya and Johnny Cage be exes together. And sadly, by the way, one of them is dying. I have a feeling. I have a feeling that it's going to be something in the measure of, Cage realizes he still loves Sonya, so he takes like a sledgehammer to the head and dies in the story mode to save her or something like that.
God, who cares?
Plenty of people care. Johnny Cage is awesome.
I just don't understand why there's any weight to death in the story if, like, each fucking match can end with somebody's spine being ripped out.
Well, we have yet to figure out how they're back because I don't know if you played the last story mode, but did you, Joe?
Yeah, the story is fun, but it's like, can we stop?
They're all dead, Joe.
It's like, oh God.
Do you think Ed Boon is just going to be an asshole about it and they just come back and there's no explanation whatsoever?
Like, yeah, that'd be fine. Who cares?
Because you couldn't do fatalities in the story mode because then he'd have to explain how this guy is dead. And why
why do the deaths in the story mode matter than the deaths that you have every single match?
Well, because one, those are just silly fatalities that are just multiplayer stuff, and the story mode is canon.
God damn it, who cares?
Everyone cares, Joe.
Oh, God.
All right, Joe. So it's time for the drop, unless anything else sprung up while I was telling you about the awesome story mode of Mortal Kombat.
I don't think so.
All right. So what dropped this week, Joe, in the world of PlayStation?
All right. This week's new games are Alter Echo as a PS2 classic. I've never heard of this game, but there it is. You can buy that on PS3. A new, surprise, a new Atelier game, Atelier Chalet, Alchemist of the Dusk Sea on PS3 as a digital and retail game for the price of $49.99. You can get Battle Hunter as a PS1 classic for $5.99. I've never heard of this game either. They're playing pretty fast and loose with the word classic with some of these later releases. See, here's the biggest release probably of the week is DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition on PlayStation 4 at digital and retail. I think that's $50. Oh, $40. Actually.
$39.99.
Yeah. All right. So that's a very good price for an excellent game.
Yeah.
60 frames and all that good stuff. So go check that out if you haven't played it. What else is new? Flame Over for PlayStation Vita as a digital game. You can get that for $9.99. Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number, as a cross-buy title for PS4, PS3, and Vita. You can get that for $14.99, or you can enjoy a slight 10% PlayStation Plus discount for the first week, $13.49. That game seems to be a little more divisive than the first game. Some reviews are a little bit more erratic, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, some people are, I guess, I don't know, like, the story just doesn't make as much sense as the first one. Like the first game's story was bizarre, but it kind of had this really interesting commentary on violence in video games. But then this other one is just like, here's this weird shit just happening for no real reason. It's like, okay. And then just, I guess the difficulty curve is much more severe. Like, I think it kind of plays, like, I think it's super, like, I think the consensus is that it's super difficult throughout the entire game, whereas, the first game, it was kind of, the first couple of levels were easy enough for you to kind of get a hang of it, but this one seems to assume that you've already played the first game and are a master at it. So, like, all the levels are super hard or something. I don't know. I haven't bought it yet, so I'm looking forward to trying that soon. See what I think. Scram Kitty DX is a cross-buy game on PS4 and Vita. You can get that for the low price of $9.99. I hear that's a pretty good game. Whatever it is. Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition, Malcolm, on PS4 and PS3 at digital and retail. You can grab that for $39.99. Sparkle 2 is a PlayStation 3 game this week. You can get that for $7.99. Apparently, that's a cross-buy title, so I guess PS4 and Vita games are already out. And finally, Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters is out on PS3 and Vita for $39.99.
Nice.
I don't know what that game is, but there you go. Let's see. You can pre-order Borderlands: The Handsome Collection for $59.99 on PS4 if you want.
Any idea when that comes out?
Forget when that comes out. I think it's April, isn't it? Or is it in a couple of weeks?
I think it might be a couple of weeks. You keep talking, and I'll look it up.
It's within the next couple of weeks for sure. Whether it's early April or late March, I'm not sure exactly. But March 24th. So yeah,
March 24th. Oh wow, the same day as Bloodborne.
Obviously, you can get Borderlands, right, Malcolm?
I don't see that happening, sadly. Well, it's not taking precedence over Bloodborne. If it's one or the other, it's the other. But we'll see, because if I tell my wife about it, maybe she'll buy it.
Let's see here. I don't see any notable DLC releases. Unless you're playing WWE 2K15, in which case the NXT Arrival Pack is finally out. Finally, you get to play as NXT up-and-comer JBL.
Oh yeah, this is the pack that made no sense to me. God,
yeah.
Like JBL hasn't been the frickin' general manager in over a year.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Like, and Adam Rose is in it. Like, it's a bunch of people that were called up already, so who cares?
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. The only other notable release is on the Sony Entertainment Network, Malcolm, on the video side, and that is Powers.
Ooh.
Which you wanted to talk about.
Indeed. And that is going to be our subject of discussion for our topic of the week. So, topic of the week this week. So PlayStation is now in the TV series industry, and their first little project is a comic book spoof, sadly, or comic book series, sadly not from the Marvel Universe, as they took on a series called Powers. And Joe, do you know, you're a comic book guy, do you know anything about this comic book series?
I have not read Powers, but I know it is a creator-owned series by Brian Michael Bendis, who's worked on many, many comic books for Marvel, from mostly the Avengers is what he's mostly known for. He's currently writing the X-Men stuff. He created the Ultimate Spider-Man thing, creating Miles Morales and pretty much everything that's happened. He's written every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man since like 2001 or whatever year Ultimate Spider-Man started. He's been working on that pretty much the entire time. And it's drawn by, I think, Michael Olmig or something. I've never seen the comic, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. But basically it's about, I guess, superhero cops in L.A. who are are tasked with bringing in powers, as it were, kind of regulating, I guess, superhero or superpower abuse or whatever. I don't know. I've never really read it.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, imagine if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. met CSI. Or not CSI.
Law and Order.
Law and Order SVU, yeah. It's like that. I mean, for frickin' A, the first episode involves a superhero committing statutory rape, for Christ's sake. So.
Yeah. It's definitely got an R-rated slant.
Yeah, and there's a lot of gore. They don't hold back on the crime whatsoever. As like you see, like there's a guy who gets beheaded. Small spoiler in this game. Him as a very interesting use of that guy's powers. What did you think of the story?
The story itself is, it's fine. I think it's, the idea of a police procedural, revolving around superheroes is pretty cool. But the acting itself is kind of cheesy, I think, in most parts. Like, I forget, what's the main character's name? Walker?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like, he's very good at being in the super dramatic parts of the script. He's pretty excellent at that. But like in the more normal tone parts of his acting, it's a little cheesy. But he's very good at being very angry. But everything else in between is kind of flat, I think.
Yeah, I actually liked him for the most part. I felt like he was actually acting his ass off. Christian Walker is his full name.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, has Eddie Izzard as one of the villains of the story, Wolf, which
yeah,
I was very happy to see.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was like, oh, hey, okay.
But yeah, the story follows Christian Walker, who used to have powers, who used to be a powers for what I can tell, he could fly, and that was pretty much it, but he was still happy to have that. And then one day in a battle with his former mentor, Wolf, Wolf's power, I guess, is that he eats people. I don't know. Once again, it's only been one episode.
That's 3 episodes.
Oh, wait, the season is 3 episodes long?
No, there are 3 episodes for you to watch.
Oh, okay. Well, I've only seen the first one so far. Or did you see all 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. All right, so... But yeah, anyway, so essentially, but Wolf ate enough of him to steal his powers. So now he's a normal human, and he's part of this police force that, arrests and takes care of supers and what have you. And in this world, I will say it's refreshing to see a world where there are superheroes already. Like, there's not, like, we're not in the middle of this lull like with... like it was with the Marvel Universe, where they're still trying to keep everything a secret, and the general public can handle it. No, they're supers all over the place. In fact, you see them fly by like every other scene in this show.
Yeah, and I think there's this whole registration thing where you have to register your powers, in a couple of episodes. But yeah, by and large, it's like a significant portion of the population has powers, and there are a bunch of kids that want to be powers as well, and they're actually called that. They're just wannabes. They kind of hang around, either wanting to get powers somehow or just kind of want to be around that scene. Yeah,
and another interesting thing, powers can be sexually transmitted.
Apparently.
Which, once again, takes the story to a dark place on more than one occasion, sadly. So, the story is serviceable. I want to find out what happens next to that extent. I do think the person who plays Christian's partner, Dina Pilgrim, I believe her name is, she's kind of a toolbox. Aside from that, everyone's pretty like, not personally, but like everyone else in here is like that's the premise of the show, that they're all jerks, but the story is interesting. I'm very curious to see what happens with Wolf and what was the name of the other villain in this game?
Eddie Royal or Eddie Royale or something.
Johnny Royale. That was
Johnny Royale. Eddie Royal is a wide receiver for the San Diego Chargers.
That would be a great plot twist.
Holy shit, Eddie Royal, what are you doing?
Oh, God. So I thought the story was cool. Something I did want to talk about, the costumes on the heroes in this show. Hate them.
Yeah, they're bad. especially whenever you see pictures of like Christian Walker in his diamond days.
Oh, yeah.
What a terrible costume that was. It's like, wow, okay.
Like, if I could put it in, like, a diagram here, like, the very best, of course, would be the Marvel Universe movies, where it just looks amazing, like they just stepped up the page.
Yeah, like, I don't know if the costumes are basically lifted from the comics pages, and if they looked better in the comic, but, on film, not great.
Yeah, it's like, then the step under that is the CW TV shows, where it looked like the actors just made the costume as best as they could. And then you have Powers, where it looks like they went to the fucking Halloween store and just went
to Party City.
Yeah, Party City, and just grabbed a superhero pack. I mean, oh wait, I can put it like, you remember the live action Tick TV shows?
Yeah,
it looks like the costumes from there. It's like it's not good. I mean, let's see. The story's all right. There you go. Now you said you didn't like it that much, Joe.
No, not really, because it's like there are parts, like there are stretches where I start to get into it, but then I'm immediately pulled out, because on top of being what seems to be a low budget kind of show, it seems like half the budget was blown on making sure that you get the hottest Sony products on camera.
The Xperia phones all over the place.
Everyone's got an Xperia phone. The kid's playing a modded version of Infamous Second Son, where he's playing his diamond on his Bravia. This isn't the second episode, Malcolm.
All right.
He's playing Infamous Second Son, where instead of controlling Delson, he's controlling Diamond, and he's playing on his Bravia TV, and of course he's wearing his PlayStation Gold headset or whatever, and. It's like, oh, come on. It's like everyone's got a Sony tablet. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, everyone's using bio laptops. And it's like even in the first episode where they're talking about the Powers Division, it's like the Powers Division is terribly funded, and we haven't gotten a budget increase in 10 years or whatever they say. But yet every cop in the precinct has a brand new Sony computer. It's like, what? It's like, what are you talking about?
First of all, yeah, and just to bring that up,
it's super distracting.
And why that? And that makes absolutely no sense. You have a division that's in charge of taking on superhuman beings, and they don't fund it? What?
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it was in the comic, or if they just decided to do that for the show. But it's like, like that they probably, that's dumb. It's like, yeah, like we deal with the biggest threats, but we have to. Like, half of our equipment is basically seized property from criminals or whatever. So it's all seized property, and the hottest Sony products is what they keep in the precinct, basically.
Yeah, it made absolutely no sense.
Like that's the one thing I hate about watching Sony produced things, whether it's Spider-Man or this. It's like their insistence on making sure that Sony is the only brand that exists is very distracting. Like in the later episode, the kid does have a MacBook, but they make very damn sure to put a sticker over the Apple on the back of the lid or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's hardly something that's, revolutionary for this. I mean, all movies do that, but they usually get, like, such a catalog of sponsors that you're able to immerse yourself, because, yeah, you see Verizon, but you're also seeing Apple, and you're seeing IHOP, and like all these other stuff.
Yeah, like Verizon can power it as a network that carries a number of different branded devices. It's not just Sony fucking Bravias or fucking Xperias or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably find that it's just so much product placement.
Yeah, like, I understand the impulse. Like, obviously, like, I know Sony. Like, I know no one's buying your phones or your computers. I understand the impulse of getting it in front of there, but it's so unrealistic. It's like, nobody buys your computers or your phones. Nope. Like, why does everybody have one in this?
Yeah, but aside from that, I want to see what happens in the next episode. So, as much as I nitpick here and there about stuff like that, it's got me for that. I want to find out what's next. And at the same time, it's not like I'm paying for each episode either. It's like free if you're a PlayStation Plus user, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, go ahead.
And even if you're not a PlayStation Plus user, the first episode is free for you to watch on, your PlayStation console of choice on like PlayStation.com/powers, and I think YouTube. They have it on YouTube as well.
Yep, that's where I saw the first episode. If you go to PlayStation's YouTube channel, the first episode is right there.
Yeah, so the first episode everybody can watch, no matter what. So go ahead and take a look at that and decide for yourself. I think it's very, I think 3 episodes is like the perfect amount to see whether, a show is something you actually want to watch or not. Like even with something like Parks and Recreation, which I love to death. Like I always tell people, it's like, yeah, watch the first few episodes and see whether or not you want to skip to the second season, because the first few episodes of that are pretty rough. So I just tell people just skip to the second season if you don't enjoy it. But this being, a procedural thing, that's probably obviously a little bit different. But 3 episodes, I think, is a good litmus test.
So that being said, are you going to continue to watch it, or are you done?
I don't know. I mean, if I've got nothing better to watch, there's so much good TV to watch, though, coming out every single week. So it's hard to justify saying, I'll watch this thing that I only kind of sort of like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you. At the same, on one hand, I didn't hate it. I'm not saying that this is the worst thing I've ever watched and to stay away from it. I liked it just fine. But at the same time, it's not like freaking watching a Marvel movie where I was like, oh my God, I need to see the next movie. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like when I have some free time, I'll probably pop in an episode and then watch the next one when I feel like it.
Yeah, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's barely come back now after a brief hiatus. But, that show started off pretty rough as well.
God, yeah.
Like, I remember the first few episodes thinking, like, I kind of hate everybody on the show that isn't Coulson. But, by the time they got around to where it ties in with Captain America Winter Soldier, it's like, wow, this is all right. I can see the vision that they have for this show. So hopefully that's something that can happen with Power. Even though it's, unlike Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though, it's not adapting directly from something. So they have to play by different rules, I guess.
Oh, by the way, poor Sky.
Yeah.
My God, fuck that group right there.
She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. There'll probably be like a set. Like if they don't show anybody from the Inhumans movie, I'll be shocked. Like the way it's going, she's eventually just gonna move to wherever their hidden city is, and then the S.H.I.E.L.D. crew is going to infiltrate that city to try and convince her to come back or something. That'll be the season finale, mark my words. But,
well, unless she dies before that movie comes out, I'm pretty sure she'll be in it.
You didn't know? She's Black Bolt.
she's Black.
Because you notice when she screamed no, that's when all the lights exploded. So. Yeah, her powers are exactly like Black Bolt's, yes. So many infuriating people. People are infuriated right now. No, it's much more grander, Black Bolt's power. I know. That's the thing. I still don't know what Sky's goddamn powers are. My gosh.
I'm making everything real shaky, I guess.
Shaky.
Accidental earthquakes are her power.
Don't get me mildly upset. You would not like me when I'm mildly upset. Oh, God. Yeah, so I love... but going back to what you're saying, that's a fantastic example. Like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the very beginning was very much a cookie cutter, I would say.
Yeah.
But I would say not just at Winter Soldier, but when Ward turned. Small spoiler. Like at that point, it was like, oh, this is a completely different show now. My gosh.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, I don't know. Like it's knowing too that powers is a thing that already exists as a comic book. It feels like maybe you should read that instead, even though I haven't read it myself. It feels. I mean, it's also you can tell that it's very much a fairly low budget show, especially compared to something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's clearly very low budget. Like it really does feel like most of the budget went towards making sure all that product placement was where it was.
So, yeah, it sounds like, would you say it's an average, or would you give it like a 5 out of 10, or?
I don't know. I'd say I don't know. It feels like I'd say it seems very skippable.
Oh, that sucks. I would say give it at least a look-see, see if you like it.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got PlayStation Plus, like I said, the perfect window to gauge a show is 3 episodes. And that's available to you now if you're a PlayStation Plus member. And then you can make up your mind from there. I mean, like I said, there's so much great TV out. Like, we're in a renaissance of excellent TV. Where
Daredevil comes out next month.
where, I mean, there's not necessarily... I don't necessarily feel like spending time on stuff that I think is mediocre at best. Like, I would rather watch, Game of Thrones and Better Call Saul and, like, the myriad of other excellent shows that are out on TV right now.
All right. Well, folks, that's what we thought about Powers. But what did you think? We'll make that a community question. You can either let us know by emailing us, firmwareupdatepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought. Or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can leave a comment below. Or you can tweet us at the Firmat, at the Firmup, at PSMalk for me, or at Wands23 for Joe. And folks, you can also use all these materials to go and write us into a section that we like to call the mailbag. All right, folks, and we are back with the mailbag section with RK, who makes his big return this week, and he sends in a big one. So get ready for this one, Joe. First off, thanks to the new listeners' questions. I hope you continue to write in. Last week we got some new emailers in, so thank you, and hope you write in again soon. Even that guy who didn't like Joe's negativity. That was fun. To Malcolm's boss, I would say get the Final Fantasy X remake on Vita. Yeah, we did mention that, once again, my boss wrote in, asked about Final Fantasy, which led to a very cool conversation. So
it's funny that the first 10 Final Fantasies are all available on Vita.
Yeah.
1 through 10 are all there.
Oh, yeah. It was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played and one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. As for Type 0, I've been waiting about 8 years for the game, as it was announced back around when Final Fantasy XIII was first announced. It was originally supposed to be a PSP game that came out in Japan only, although Western fans begged them to bring it out, but they never did. From what I gather from the Japanese trailers I saw over the years, it is by far the most dark and mature Final Fantasy. Really? Wow. Like Malcolm said, each person has different weapons and moves. I think each character is named based on a deck of cards, so I assume these are about a dozen playable characters.
Is there a character called Uno?
Uno.
Can I play as Uno?
Oh, God. But there is one called Cards of Humanity in there. That'll be
Cards Against Humanity's in there. Apples to Apples.
Oh, Apples to Apples. That's going to be my favorite. Like Malcolm said, each person has different weapons and moves. I think each character is based on themes. The combat is real time, and some liken it to Kingdom Hearts. Never played Really? You never played Kingdom Hearts, RK? Oh, you got to change that, man. You got to pick that up on. And prefer turn-based combat in RPGs, so I can't weigh in on that. In any case, the game is $60, and that comes with the demo to Versus 13, which is renamed to 15. Outside of Shenmue 3, Versus has been my most anticipated game for a majority of this decade. Oh, wow. So I'm looking forward to it, even though the graphics took a hit and they changed the gameplay type and style. If it took a hit, I can't tell. What about you, Joe?
I'm not sure, because it's a weird game, right? I mean, are we talking about Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see any hit at all.
No.
Terrific.
Yeah, like that's one of the things you can't take away from it. It looks amazing. Stay
no
away.
What do you think?
What's that?
Fantasy. So no matter what you think of any Final Fantasy game, the graphics are pretty much always on point.
That's true. Stay away from Final Fantasy 13 if you value your life. It is the worst way to start playing out the JRPGs or Final Fantasy. Most gamers consider it a bad game. Most JRPGs consider it a bad JRPG, and most Final Fantasy players consider it the worst in the series. Is it as bad as most people say? No.
Good game.
But it's a very poorly designed JRPG, which I agree with, Joe.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a poorly designed JRPG. They tried too hard to appeal to people who don't play JRPGs, and they succeeded. Joe likes it.
A great game. A
few of the characters are very unlikable, especially Lightning and Hope.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, and Vanille, I couldn't stand her either. Fucking A. Hey, if you are walking home one day and a bum that has lost everything is starving out in the street and has a "Will you give me a copy of Final Fantasy 13 for food" sign, and you have a few crumbs from lunch left on your lips to dust off the ground for him to lick it up, then I'd say you wouldn't be coming out of pocket too much for the game. Anything more than that and you've wasted your money. I'm exaggerating, but I really wouldn't pay more than $10 for the game unless you're a diehard RPG fan. To answer the community question on the favorite PS2 game, I was a Nintendo kid growing up, and the GameCube was my primary system during that time. I bought the PS2 for one game, Final Fantasy X. I wasn't willing to pay full price for the system, so for my birthday gift, both me and my sister went half on the system. I think it was around $250 at the time. I love Final Fantasy X, as I mentioned earlier, and it was worth the price of admission. But I went on to use PS2 as my JRPG machine, although the GameCube has my favorite RPG of all time, Baton Kaitos. It didn't have many JRPGs other than that, though. Some of my favorites were Star Ocean Till the End of Time. I actually do know that one. That was one of my favorites, too. And Redata Stories. I played a few other games on the PS2, like Tony Hawk's Underground, and several fighting games, but for the most part, I played my Dreamcast and GameCube. I always regret missing out on a lot of PS2 games because I didn't make a lot of money back then, and if I had enough money saved up to buy a game, it was usually up to be a Dreamcast or a GameCube game. I still like the console and have owned and loved every PlayStation console since then, so I'm glad I bought it. For my question, I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on the new hosts of Podcast Beyond? I'm surprised how much I like them and how fast I adjusted to the new format. I dare say I like the new crew more, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I never knew Max Scoville existed till I listened to the new Beyond, but I love the guy because he acts a lot like me. He's even white, just like me. No, I'm just kidding.
Alrighty.
You wouldn't suspect it because I never really act like myself when I'm on your pod. That's not you, really? Is that true, Joe?
I don't know. We have the same. We have the equal exposure. Equal exposure to Arcade. You probably have more experience because you played Destiny with them.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of laid back. Arcade's cool, folks, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, love Arcade.
Yeah. When I'm on your podcast or play video games. Okay, so even when I'm playing video games, that's not you. Jesus Christ, man. You're like a walking character actor. Jesus. But when I'm with friends I've known for a long time, I act goofy like Max, and I can't seem to resist the urge to make really bad puns like him. Like when somebody mentioned having to get some Zero candy bars for their wife's doctor, and he said laying them across a check saying, "I bet you never saw so many zeros on a check before." I laughed for like a minute straight because those are the kinds of jokes, the ones I make all day with my friends. Anyway, what are the things you possibly like more about the new Podcast Beyond, and what are some things you like more about the old one? All right, Joe, have you listened to a lot of the new podcast?
Yeah, I'm pretty much all caught up with Podcast Beyond, and yeah, like Max and Brian Altano obviously have a natural chemistry, having co-hosted the Comedy Button for so long.
Comedy Button podcast. If you don't know that one, go check that out. It's a very fun talk podcast.
Yeah, and they've been doing that together for a very long time. So.
Oh yeah.
So when Max was hired over at IGN, it was like, oh, these guys are obviously going to be podcasting and making a lot of videos together. And that's basically what's happened. And, so there's a lot of natural chemistry there. Marty Sleva, of course, he's an experienced podcaster as well. So he's like, that's an interesting dynamic to add as well. And I guess to kind of add, random people other than those three as needed for whatever game they have to talk about or whatever. They have, like, obviously it's a very different dynamic than what you've had with Greg and Colin. But I'm kind of with RK where, they're a little bit better because, they have so much more versatile podcast history behind them. So it kind of shows in.
So I'll admit, I've only heard a few episodes, and it was because of this email that I actually started listening to them. I want to make something abundantly clear. I didn't have an issue with either Max Scoville, who I think is hysterical on the comedy button, or Marty Sleva, who, granted, kind of looks like a stoner who's just waking up from a nap. But aside from that, he's a funny guy. I like him. But at the same time, it's sort of I was trying to think of an example to explain this. But imagine there's this barber you're always going to, and it's a great experience every time. She does your hair just right. Then one day you go to the barber, and it's a different barber. And instead of this barber, there's this new guy named Steve there. Now, Steve, you see the graduation from Hairstylist Academy or whatever they call it. So you assume he's a good barber, but at the same time, it's not your barber. So that was where I was at, where I was kind of but I finally listened, and I would agree that it's not bad. It's good. This is going to confuse you, Joe, because a lot of the things that I'm liking is also a lot of the stuff that I'm not really a fan of.
Okay.
Like, they're talking about changing, like, I've heard, like, the first couple of them, and they're talking about changing the format and what have you. Like, it sounds like they're dropping the name The Roper Report.
This all makes sense, because these are all things that were pretty much were inherently tied to not only, pretty much just tied to Colin and Greg as hosts. It's like none of the people on the show now ever podcasted with fucking Roper, so it's like, why would they keep calling it The Roper Report? They never. Yeah,
it's like, I'm right there. Like, Scoville actually explained, like, Greg explained it once, and he explained and he said a whole bunch of gibberish, and it never made any sense to me. And which, admittingly, I never listened to a podcast with Roper on there. So
neither did I.
So it's like, so you just sort of dealt with it, but at the same time, the very fact that they're changing it is sort of has me, it would be one thing if that was the only thing, but the first episode, they're talking about, we're going to change everything. We're dropping so many of the, fucking hey, dude, shut the fuck up. It's like, okay, let's do drop the Roper Report 1 week, and then a few weeks later, you get rid of the freaking whatever they call the updated list of video games from the IGN editors or whatever the hell that is. The one that nobody was able to get right in the 20 years of that show's existence. Yeah, drop that. Or the 8 years of that show's existence. But anyway.
What is it, the updated list of PlayStation software on all three platforms?
It's by the IGN editors, yes.
There or whatever.
See, even you were so close, Joe. But at the same time, I understand why they have to make the change and why it's necessary. It's just... It's like if you ever watched Lethal Weapon 4, I think Joe...
And who hasn't?
Oh, it's an excellent movie, Joe. That whole franchise, go check that out. But anyway, Joe Pesci said it best when talking about getting a new pet turtle after his old one died. It's not saying you love it more, it's just different. And that's where it is. And some of their segments, when they decide, the top 50 essential PlayStation games, I actually liked it, and I thought it was a good idea. And then Bushido Blade went in there, and I was like, okay, well, that went down quick, but no, Bushido Blade's fine, but I'm still getting used to it, but so far I like it. Scoville and Marty Sleva are pretty good, and even though he's not officially a member of the crew. I like that Brian Altano's there.
Yeah.
He's making the whole transition really good. And Scoville actually pointed this out on the very first episode. Like, we're a new team. We're still trying to find our rhythm. And, me and Joe encountered that for the first 20 podcasts we did.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely relate to that. So I do wish them luck. I'm going to continue listening. And we'll see where it goes from there. Because, it's going to be a little tricky getting used to everything.
Yeah, and if we do want the old thing that used to be Podcast Beyond, I think Colin and Greg have a PlayStation-specific show as well over there now, too. So go listen to that if that's what you want to hold on to that.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, you can still follow them. I still listen to Colin and Greg over at Kind of Funny. I mean,
yeah, they don't cease to exist because they're not doing Podcast Beyond.
You can subscribe to more than one podcast. Lesser known fact.
Yeah, I'm currently in that space right now where it's like, oh shit, I've got 30 fucking podcasts to catch up on.
Oh god, yeah. Jesus Christ. I gotta play some podcast video games today so I can catch up on them.
Yeah. Been playing a lot of Gran Turismo 6 while listening to podcasts.
Folks, that does it for this week's episode 137 of the Firmware Update. Thank you so much for listening in to us. If this is your first experience with the show, and if you want to subscribe to us, you can. If you use an Apple device, which, let's face it, a lot of you do, you can just go to the podcast app on your phone. Just look us up, Firmware Update, and hit that subscribe button. And hey, maybe you can leave a 5-star review for us, as that tremendously helps the show. You can also find us if you use an Android device. Yeah, don't worry, I didn't forget you either. You can just you can use such apps as Stitcher Radio, where you can stream us from your device each and every week. You can also find us on SoundCloud, where the latest episode, and only the latest episode each week, will be up there. And you can stream and download us as well. But if you're looking for an excuse if you want to have more than one episode, or maybe you want to have the option to download, you can do that with an app that we use called Pocket Casts, which is $3.99 one time, and then you can download any podcast you can imagine on your Apple device. If you use Windows, don't worry, we didn't forget you either. If you check on the description, there is an RSS URL, and you just copy and paste that into the podcast section of your podcast app, and it'll find the page for this show, and you can just subscribe from there, and you'll get every episode available to you right then and there. Let's see. You can also find us on Twitter, at PSMalk for me, at Wands23 for Joe. You can find me. You can find the show at The Firm Up. You can email to the show at firmwareupdatepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube, as we have a YouTube channel where if you want to just play us in the background on your computer while you do stuff, hey, there you go. Oh, and you can also find us on WordPress at the www.thefirmup.wordpress.com.
There you go.
Hey, I did it, folks.
Only took you 2 months to get it, but you got it.
It's new, Joe. It's not saying you love it more. It's just different, folks. We will see you. Oh, Joe, am I forgetting anything else?
Nope.
Groovy, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Fuck GamerGate. Woo!